jokes they tell of their defeat in 45. They all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots. The maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come, and if I die here for the resistance, oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers, and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of our resistance, and those who died for liberty.
From all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I was born in a Dublin street where the Lion runs do beat, and the lovely English people walked all over us. And every single night when they tell come home tight, he'd invite the neighbours out with this chorus. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Callaway from the green and lovely lace of Kilshandra. Tell us how you slew them old Arabs 2 by 2. Like the Zulus, they had knives, bows and arrows. Of how brave you faced one with your 16-pounder gun, and you frightened all the natives to the marrow. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Callaway from the green and lovely lace.
Hello there, hello there, hello there. Every motherfucking body. How are we all? I am very well, I thank you for asking. Thank you for joining me once again for another journey into the nonsense that is life. And that. I look forward to more Star Trek discussion. Well, you will be sadly disappointed, I feel. I did the Stream You Up Scotty as the name because I couldn't think of a name. Just putting in the title Prime Minister's Questions, get ready to be depressed, like, it didn't seem appropriate. Although it would have been appropriate, but I didn't want to. And someone put that in chat in the Discord. I forget who though. I could check, but you'll notice I ain't typing shit, so I'm not checking. But whoever it was, thank you. I do love you and will happily eat any part of your body, in a metaphorical sense. You understand? Anyway, I'm alive. Well, I'm glad you're alive, Chris. Welcome in. Mine just says live January the 14th. What? Did I not save the thing on the restream? Is this going out as live January the 14th? What? The fuck? Update tiles? What the? Why isn't it? Oh, for fucking little cunt! Honestly, someone's getting caught up. It's gonna have to happen. Why didn't it fucking save the name of the thing? It's never done that before. There you go. Anyway, it's now done. It's now changed. Fucking end me. How are we all, chat? I was very well. I'm now not very well. I'm now very annoyed. Extraordinarily annoyed. Thank you, Carl Brown, for gifting a sub to Ross Gittins. Much love to you both. Fuck yes. I am outraged. Absolutely.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Is that? Oh, that's the thing I just read out anyway. But thank you, Carl. And I forgot to put the fucking Stream Deck on, so I'm gonna have to sort that out now. Yeah, skip that version. Fuck you, Stream Deck. I'm not downloading a new thing. I barely understand this. Can't we just go back to gramophone records and like fucking imperialism? Actually, we're still doing that. as America is about to invade Greenland. Can we do some imperialism?
A bunch of fascist slags.
Anyway.
Throbbing.
I might not get to use that one, so I just thought I'd press it. Anyway, yes. I'm knackered because I've been delivering green leaflets. Oh, fuck yes. Go for it, man. You'd love to see it. Celtic are winning. Yes, indeed, indeed. It's mad that they got rid of a manager that was that had them winning games to bring in a shithouse, and now they brought back the manager that was winning them games, and they're winning games again. They should probably try and keep the manager who's winning games. Just like, far be it from me to tell the very learned members of the board of Celtic Football Club, but maybe don't appoint absolute fucking wasters as the manager. Some rando fucking guy that no one's heard. No, don't do that. Very rarely do you get an Arsene Wenger who pops out of nowhere and becomes a legend. It rarely happens. Anyway. Throbbing is your boyfriend's verbal stim. What, this? Oh.
Throbbing.
That thing. Well, it's apple juice. I mean, I would be so poncy and be like, I'm doing a juice cleanse, but I'm not. I'm just drinking some fucking apple juice. Look at that. Look at that gamer dent. That's a bastard, that. Fuck me. I've only had these on for fucking 20 minutes. Jesus Christ, look at that. I can't even flatten it down. Oh, no. My hair's fucked. Whatever. Right.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
What am I doing? Thank you, Goat Boy, who indeed is living up to that moniker of being the goat by gifting 10 memberships. Much love to you. Boom. Wenger popped out.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Krampus 8. Yes, he did. He managed in Japan, didn't he? He managed Monaco, and then in Japan, and then Arsenal forever. And is now, I mean, I think he's dead. He isn't dead. But metaphorically.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Metaphorically and literally, Gennaro Gattuso needs to shut the fuck up. Except, of course, when he is verbally assaulting Israeli footballers. In which case, have at it, Gennaro. It's still brilliant. Fuck off. You love it, chat. You love it. W's in chat for Gennaro Gattuso and the Italian football team, both in terms of the football and the kind of verbal posture, absolutely rinsing the Israeli football team. I love that. Gianluigi Donnarumma. Annoying cunt for winning that penalty shootout against England in the Euros final, but we'll forgive that for the fact that he was verbally assaulting the Israeli players, calling them all baby killers for like the entire game. Apparently he was literally like, every time they had a corner or something, like one of the, their players would be near enough to him, he'd just be like, you kill children, you all fucking kill children, you bastards. In a second language. Oh, you gotta love it. Fuck yes. Anyway, so that's why I'm happy with him being in England. That's, yeah, good lad. It doesn't even matter if he believes it. Just, it's good banter, you know? Yeah, Gennaro Gattuso getting Joe Jordan with his fucking hand round his throat. There's two hard cunts you don't want to mess with. Fuck me. Oh. Anyway. Where were we? Thank you, Phil Decker with Biddy Bits on the Twitch, and thank you to Lord Fritos for 64 months, you mad French bastard. Much love to you. If Roberto Duran can do mind games with Leonard, then that's just a strategy. Oh yeah, Absolutely, it might just be gamesmanship. Gennaro Gattuso might not give a fuck about Palestine at all. I have no idea what his politics are. He's very much one of those professionals that just keeps it like stum. He just does his thing. But on the pitch, yeah, no, he apparently was really tearing into him. It's like, even if it's like he's just doing it to get under their skin for a gamesmanship type situation, it's still fucking good. And correct, of course, because many of those players did serve in the IDF, and so therefore are fucking murderers. Have you looked into the Connor Eats Pan stuff? No, I haven't. I still, someone asked me about this yesterday, and I still don't know who or what that is. Should we look it up now? It's been asked about 2 days running, so Connor Eats Pants. Connor Eats Pants from Wikitubia. Better known is an American YouTuber best known for live streams doing Quackity and Tommy in it. Okay. He was previously business partners with Jay Schlatt. Oh, okay, he moves in those circles. Right. Okay, but what's the controversy? Google doesn't want to tell me things. Controversy. Let's have a look. Connor Eats Pants controversy isn't about a major scandal, but usually refers to fans' discussions of Connor. Well, fuck off. That was from 10 months ago. Goes viral. Oh, okay, hang on. Twitch streamer Connor Eats Pants goes viral after explosive replies to US Vice President on ICE shooting. Okay. Twitch streamer Connor Eats Pants has gone viral after posting extreme replies to comments made by US Vice President J.D. Vance. The exchange began following a deadly immigration raid in Minneapolis. During the operation, the ICE officer fatally shot a 37-year-old woman in front of a family member. The incident sparked heavy debate online. J.D. Vance said some shit. J.D. Vance. Connor Eats Pants replied with a highly aggressive message aimed directly at the Vice President. He wrote, "Your life is an all-time justification of post-birth abortion." Okay, based. Why is this controversial? This is just correct. Thanks for the invitation to criticise you and your fellow administration of paedophile rapists. What a sorry excuse for a father, husband, Vice President, human and mammal. SK this country's collective DK. So suck this country's collective dick. Okay. Cool. I mean, yeah. Well, why is that controversial? That's just correct. That's just actually based. Later that day, J.D. Vance again posted some fucking shite. Connor Eats Pants responds once more with another shocking post. He said, "Mum should have just stuffed you with crack out of the womb. See what happens for science. Maybe you'd end up with a functioning brain." Oh, it's a fatality.
You just assaulted me.
Absolute violation. That's pretty good, actually. Okay, so he's shitposting whilst Connor Eats Vance. Love it. Yeah, so he's just letting off some steam, telling it how it is, and shitposting at the same time. Okay. Well, that's not controversial. Honestly. Connor, if you're listening, mate, I will happily give you a hand job. Free, on the house, gratis. You might not be into it. You don't have to take it. I'm just saying it's on the table. You know? Anything else will probably cost you. But that bit, free. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, you can give me money. You can give me money in the form of bits and subs and subscriptions and memberships and all that shite. You know what to do, and I suspect some of you will do it, but maybe not enough of you will do it. I don't know. I don't know, chat.
Are you sure about that?
I am sure about that. Oh god, this honestly, it's such a distraction at points because I just want to press all the buttons. I've made them different colours and stuff, and it distracts me. Anyway, yes. So yeah, thank you well, thank you for being here. Anyway, right. So you know how I promised you yesterday a more structured thing? I kind of lied, albeit I wasn't planning on lying, but I did kind of. Anyway, but we're not doing slop as such. We're doing politics, but it's British politics, so it's kind of slop. Yeah. Prime Minister's questions. Yeah. Yeah. Hello, Turn Lefters. Did Turn Left come in? Did I get raided by Turn Left? I don't know. Anyway, let's have a look at these dickheads. Right. Oh, hang on. What has happened there? What is going on here? There we go. Fucking hell. Right. Prime Minister's questions, or as I like to think of it, the shocking realisation that everything is fucked. Can confirm raided it. Well, hello there, Turn Left people. Hit the subscribe/follow button. It's free. You can also give me money, but like you might be new here or some shit. I don't know. Anyway, I've been on Turn Left before, so you might have seen me before. We're watching Prime Minister's questions anyway. These bunch of cunts. Oh, and also everyone go and follow Turn Left because Curtis is fucking awesome.
Number one, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, can I start by condemning, in the strongest possible terms, the sickening repression and murder of protesters in Iran?
Exactly what they should do is just have locked them up for minor infractions of laws that shouldn't exist in the first place, like you do.
The contrast between...
Imagine that. Imagine if they'd said if they'd said something illegal like I support Palestine action, because that is illegal. You understand? But you know we support freedom of protest in this country. Honest.
Between the courage of the Iranian people and the brutality of their desperate regime has never been clearer. Mr. Speaker, we've called out this brutality face to face. We're working with allies on further sanctions and doing all we can to protect UK nationals. Mr. Speaker, time and again, under the party opposite, towns and cities across the north were failed. Today, this Labour government delivers change. A major new rail network across the north and a new northern growth strategy. That is the renewal that this country voted for. This morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and can I associate myself with the Prime Minister's remarks, particularly about Iran? Visiting schools in my Spelthorne constituency is one of the great joys of this job. So I was frankly appalled to hear that the Labour member...
Hang on, so is he one of the few Tory MPs who's allowed within 500 yards of a school? Because aren't most of them, you know, let's say, discouraged from interactions with children ever again?
Member of Parliament for Bristol North East was prevented from visiting a school in his constituency because he is Jewish. This is anti-Semitism and it is happening in plain sight.
Hang on, go back. What?
Visiting schools in my Spelthorne constituency is one of the great joys of this job. So I was frankly appalled to hear that the Labour Member of Parliament for Bristol North East was prevented from visiting a school in his constituency because he is Jewish.
Okay, I'm going to press X to doubt on that. When did this happen? When the fuck did this happen? Did we have a raid? Oh, I turned the noises off, so if we had a raid, I missed it. Anyway, welcoming raiders if there was a raid. Whatever. Anyway, hello. The guy will hopefully have to correct the record. Okay, hang on. So, Labour MP... Let's check this story, because I've missed this. Labour MP... school... Jewish... Bristol? That should be enough to get me the story, at least, right? Keir Starmer promises action over cancellation of Jewish MP's school visit. Right. Pro-Palestine activists and national education members said they opposed the visit of Damien Egan, the Labour Party MP for Bristol North East, because they viewed him as supportive of Israel's... So not because he was Jewish, then? Because they viewed him as supportive of Israel's military action in Gaza. So they didn't want a Zionist talking shit to their kids. There you go. It's very... all of this is so easily disproven. He's a deputy of the Labour Friends of Israel. Yeah, okay, so yeah, he shouldn't be allowed near schools then. He's a fucking danger to children. I'm sorry, given how many schools, and indeed school children, have been killed and destroyed by the Israeli army in the last... well, let's just keep it to the last 2 years. He shouldn't be allowed near schools. Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. It's got nothing to do with him being fucking Jewish.
This is anti-Semitism, and it is happening in plain sight. Exactly. With all due respect to the Prime Minister, I don't want to know how he feels about this. I want to know what he's going to do about it.
Prime Minister. Can I start by thanking him for raising this case?
Well, take the IDF's approach and just bomb the school, I suppose. Just flatten it, bulldoze it, and then let people who've never been there, but had family that lived there 6,000 years ago, come in and settle the place. Surely, that's the only sensible approach anyone can possibly take.
Because it is very serious, very concerning, and all members of Parliament should be able to visit anywhere in their constituency, schools or other places, without any fear of anti-Semitism. We do take this seriously. We're providing more funding for security and support we're putting in across the country, and we will be holding those to account who prevented this visit to this school.
Annalise Midgley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank the Prime Minister for his commitment to delivering the Hillsborough Law. But it has been proven that following the Manchester Arena bombings, MI5 spent 6 years misleading the public and concealing information. There was no risk to national security because it was a closed hearing. So will the Prime Minister deliver justice for those families and confirm that this government will bring forward an amendment that will make robust the duties and responsibilities of candour for all parts of the state, including individuals in the security services, so we can finally say, never again.
Prime Minister.
As if Keir Starmer is going to allow, or sort of block the British establishment from neutering this piece of legislation. There's going to be no effective duty of candour for any of these evil cunts. And Hillsborough will be allowed to happen again. Because the British state doesn't care about the victims of Hillsborough. It never did, and it doesn't care about those who would be the victims of the next one either.
Can I thank my honourable friend? The Hillsborough Law will right wrongs of the past, changing the balance of power to ensure the state can never hide from the people it should serve. And I would like to acknowledge, Mr. Speaker, I think some of the families are in the gallery.
Motherfucker, you are literally allowing councils to not have elections that you know you will lose. You are literally the state hiding from the people they are supposed to serve.
With us here today, and I will be meeting them later on this afternoon. I've always been clear the duty of candour applies to the intelligence services. I made a commitment we wouldn't water down the bill, and the amendments we put forward strengthen it. It is right that there are essential safeguards in place to protect national security, and we've got that balance right. I will meet the families and we'll outline the next steps on Monday in relation to that crucial balance.
We come to the Leader of the Opposition, Kevin Bednall.
Hey, Kenny.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Can I agree with the Prime?
Kev, Damien Egan is an ex-Catholic convert. His husband is X8300.
X8300, what's that? Is that something I should be aware of? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so he's an ex-Catholic who converted to Judaism. Okay. I mean, that still makes him Jewish, whatever. I mean, I'm not... But it's not... He wasn't banned for being Jewish. He was banned for being an evil piece of shit. Okay. Cool. Oh, it's the Israeli spy corps. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, he's... Okay, so he's married to a dude who's, like, not only... a part of the Israeli state or whatever, but it's like the worst bit. Brilliant, fantastic. Yeah, no, fuck that guy, piece of shit.
Prime Minister's comments on Iran. Today, Irfan Soltani faces execution for protesting in Iran, and I'm sure the whole House will be united in condemning this.
Yeah, they should just be locked up for 4 years for. Was it planning to cause not obstruction? Fuck! Nuisance? Whatever. You get the idea. They all support repressing protest at home, in defence of Israel, of course. But now apparently it suits them to pretend to give a fuck about the right of protest for the Iranians. Because they want the Shah or whoever to go back in and start giving them Iran's oil wealth again. Naturally.
Our thoughts are with him and his family and the brave protesters fighting for their freedom against an evil regime.
And all, I mean, interestingly, did you... God almighty. Elon Musk is such a sad cunt. You know, on Twitter now, you know, you can, if you want to do a country's flag, you can get the, like, a little flag emote thing. The Iranian version of that has now been replaced with from what the Iranian flag is to the flag of the Shah. So it's the Iranian flag with the... It's got like a weird little lion thing on it with a sword, I think. Anyway, whatever. So that's what Twitter and Elon Musk by extension thinks should be the case in Iran. Don't make it too obvious, lads. No.
Mr. Speaker, I know the Home Secretary will be making a statement today on the West Midlands Police. The first thing that she should be announcing is the sacking of the Chief Constable. And I thank the member for West Suffolk for relentlessly pushing this issue. Mr. Speaker, can I welcome the Prime Minister's latest U-turn? I feel like I say that every week. Mandatory digital ID was a rubbish policy, and we on this side of the House are glad to see the back of it.
You know what? Fair play. It was a rubbish policy. Chalk one up. The clock is right at least once a day, apparently.
But yesterday, the Health Secretary said the Prime Minister's New Year's resolution should be, and I quote, to try to get it right first. To try to get it right first time. To try to get it right first time. Yes, you did say that. You did say that. My question is, does he agree?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm determined to make it harder for people to work illegally in this country, and that's why there will be checks, they will be digital, and they will be mandatory. And I'll tell her what this government is doing, whether on planning, child poverty, employment rights, investing in our NHS, we're taking the right choices for Britain, and they oppose every single one of them. And she talks about U-turns and consistency. from the party that used to recognise the challenge of climate change, and now they run from it, who promised to cut immigration, but then lost control of it, who once took great pride in our diversity, now they talk of deporting our neighbours to achieve cultural coherence. And Mr. Speaker, on consistency...
Well, how else will we avoid becoming an island of strangers, Keith? Have you considered that?
Don't get me started on 5 Prime Ministers, 6 Chancellors, 8 Home Secretaries, 16 Housing Ministers. They had more positions in 14 years than the Kama Sutra. No wonder they're knackered and they left the country...
What? Do I have anything appropriate for that? No, that doesn't seem appropriate.
Very, 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 very cringe. Very, very, very cringe.
Got more positions than the Kama Sutra. The Prime Minister said that there. Cool.
Be screwed. They had more positions in 14 years than the Kama Sutra. No wonder they're knackered and they left the country screwed.
It's all a little bit unseemly. Like, genuinely, right? How the fuck is saying that someone who is obviously drunk is drunk? That's unparliamentary and you will be asked to withdraw that. Whereas that statement, that's just fine, apparently. I mean, he's sort of supposed to be alright. Like, I don't want to be all coy and you know, all prissy about it, because, like, I swear a lot and stuff. But, like, I'm a fucking shithouse YouTube Twitch streamer. This guy's the Prime Minister. At least try and sound a bit like it. It's just a bit... Look, look, if he had really good policies and was a good Prime Minister, and he'd said that, I'd just be like, well, that's a bit of a shame. Whatever. And I wouldn't mention it. If that was the worst thing he'd done, like, I'd think he was actually a very good Prime Minister. If that was the worst thing he'd ever done. But this is like a fly in the ointment of shite that is his Prime Ministership. But, like... This, it's just a bit... Like, I don't think a Prime Minister really ought to be talking like that, really. I mean, I'd prefer he also weren't, like, you know, in the pocket of foreign governments or beholden to donors and, you know, free football tickets and dresses for his wife and, you know, the use of £1 million apartments in London, so on and so forth. But I'd also prefer if he didn't talk like a wanker. You know. Maybe Kev knows what's in the weird gold box on the desk. Well, that's order papers. No one really uses those boxes, but you can put your order papers in there if you're the minister in charge of that particular debate, or indeed the shadow thereof. But no one uses it. So basically at the moment they're probably empty, is the point. It's very unbecoming of a leader. Well, the corruption or him doing weird little sex jokes. I don't know. Either way, fuck it, whatever. Like, the entirety of Parliament is a sink of moral depravity. It's filled with rapists, paedophiles, defenders of genocide, some of the most foul, debased, corrupt monsters on the planet. So maybe a few sex jokes, it's not that bad, actually. It's like going to the fucking fiery lake, being sent down to hell and being like, I'm not sure about the decor. It's a bit kitsch, you know? You're missing the point.
A lot of waffle, Mr. Speaker, but it's still a U-turn. The member for Hull East has said, it's so interesting, Mr. Speaker, Labour MPs...
Well, you know what's also in Hansard? Oh, I do hope I can find this. Hang on, I'm definitely having to search this off screen. Ooh. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's this guy.
Throbbing.
This statement is also in Hansard. For those who don't know, Hansard is the official record of things that get said officially in Parliament, right? So if you say anything in a debate or during Prime Minister's questions or whatever, it gets recorded. So this is also recorded in that book that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years.
Did the Treasurer of the Labour Party, and I apologise to the Right Honourable Lady for the language I'm about to use, did the Treasurer ask if Mr Desmond was giving from the profits of spunk-loving sluts, or Asian babes, or XXX pornographic television, or the profits of the Daily Star?
Order.
Spunk-loving sluts. So that phrase is also in Hansard forever. For reference, he was talking about a guy called Richard Desmond, who hopefully is dead, I'm not sure. Anyway, who was a pornographer, who owned apparently the titles Asian Babes and Spunk-Loving Sluts, who donated money to the Labour Party, and that was a controversy at the time, and he was asking about that in Parliament. So the phrase spunk-loving sluts is also in Hansard forever. Or at least for as long as Britain bothers to keep such records. Well, that speaker was even worse. It was so disappointed. That speaker, fucking Michael Martin, right? Honestly, the worst speaker. Probably worse than the current speaker. Because the current speaker at least does his job by the book or whatever, right? You're supposed to learn the names of the people in Parliament so you can go... Thangam Debonair, she's not in Parliament anymore. Lol. Can we get some lols in chat? That is still funny. But you can say, oh, you know, that person, and say them by their name and call them to speak. Whereas he didn't know anyone's name, so he just sort of go, that guy, and just sort of point at them, and like, it's there's fucking hundreds of people here. Who the fuck are you pointing at? Anyway. So yes, as we were saying, spunk-loving sluts
must think very carefully before defending policy decisions publicly. He said, and I quote, "This stuff leaves us looking really stupid." I'm sorry to tell him, but Labour MPs have been looking stupid for a long time. But let's look, Mr. Speaker. Let's look at some other things the Prime Minister didn't get right first time, starting with the family farms tax.
It's not a family farms tax, it's a tax on land bankers and people avoiding paying inheritance tax. That's all it is.
Farmers were so terrified, they sold their farms last year, only for the Prime Minister to U-turn 2 days.
I mean, he's just a U-turn machine, isn't he? Do you think the Conservatives would have put Badenoch in charge if they thought they had to seriously try and win an election with a black woman in charge? I don't know, mate. I'm surprised they elected her, to be honest, but she was pretty right-wing, so... And the field she was running against was not strong, so... Yeah.
Days before Christmas. Will he apologise for the misery he's caused countless farmers?
Mr. Speaker, the principle we put in place on inheritance tax is the right one. We listened, we made an asterisk. But what we're doing is turning the country around. Yes,
what about
we've changed the country.
Very good
We've changed the failed approach of the last Tory government. They crashed the economy and sent mortgage rates through the roof. They left millions stuck on NHS waiting lists. They presided over the worst Parliament for living standards on record. Now we're turning that around. We're changing that. Inflation and interest rates are coming down. Waiting lists are coming down. Wages are up more in the first year of a Labour government than 10 years of the Tory government. But I understand, Mr. Speaker, that she's taking advice on change. She had Nadeem Zahawi in to ask his advice.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Party. please don't...
Unbunch your pants, Kev. He didn't fell at the mic.
Honestly, I'd have respected it if he did. If he'd gone full, like, balls to the wall with it and been like, got more positions than the Kama Sutra. My personal favourite, reverse cowgirl or some shit, you know, like... Have you ever tried a sloppy reach around? Like, you know, really get into it. Have you ever had a Moroccan tea party? You know.
Told me she listened to his accountant. The next day after the advice, he jumped ship to reform, the 23rd former Tory MP to do so. I don't know which is more pitiful, the flood of former Tory MPs deserting her sinking ship, or the Reform Party so desperate to launder any old failed Tory politician.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister doesn't need to worry about me. I'm all right.
Did you just make up a Moroccan tea party? No, it's actually an oblique reference, which if anyone got, we are very good friends. It's from a TV series called Ghosts. There's a character in it who, ironically, is a Tory MP, albeit a dead one. The show is very good. There's a US version of it as well, isn't there? Where essentially a woman nearly dies, and in nearly dying, can now see the ghosts of the people who died in the place that they are. Anyway, and there's one of them that's a Tory MP who died whilst having an affair with his wife, again, you know, at this place where these people live now. And so he's always never got trousers on. So he has to walk around with no trousers on. Anyway, and he's like a sex addict or whatever. Anyway, or a very sex-obsessed person. Or sex-driven person, whatever. And yeah, one of the things he goes in about, have you ever tried this thing and that thing and the other thing? And one of them he made, and I think it is just made up, is a Moroccan tea party. Which or just stuck in my head. It made me laugh. Yeah, big David Mellor vibes. Yeah. Well, he very much speaks to that, because obviously in this show he died in the 90s as well, so... So, like, he's clearly a reference to, like, that kind of era of sleazy Tory politics. But the character's quite likeable in some respects. You got that reference. Okay, well, if you did, we're good friends then. It's all good. I'll ride or die, you know? Americans have no clue about our perverts. Well, to be fair, they elected a man that they must have known was a wrong-un. They elected fucking Jeffrey Epstein's best mate to be fucking president twice.
And
they're making a German version.
And I didn't hear an apology.
They're making a German version. That's difficult. Because a lot of those ghosts are going to be like Jewish ghosts in pinstripes, aren't they? In the German version. It's going to make for some interesting comedy, I think. Just saying.
Didn't hear an apology to the farmers. Has he even apologised to the member for Penrith, who stood up for farmers only to have the whip removed? This Prime Minister treats his MPs so badly, they follow his lead and he hangs them out to dry every time. Let's turn to another area the Prime Minister has got wrong.
Technically they did elect Epstein's friend 4 times, of course, because of Mr. William J. Clinton. Yeah.
Budget doubled business rates for thousands of pubs. So can the Prime Minister tell us, is there going to be any change to his business rates policy?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we're working with the sector to ensure that they get the support that they need. I have to say, the Leader of the Opposition's newfound concern for pubs will come as a surprise to anyone who remembers the 7,000 pubs that were closed under the Tories. And as business secretary, she didn't say a word about it. So we support business. We also support workers, Mr. Speaker. And that's why we passed our Employment Rights Act. And on Mr. Speaker, on Monday, the business secretary...
American Ghost is filmed in Quebec. And the American Ghost woman, who plays an American, is actually from New Zealand. She does the accent very well. Yeah, I didn't know she wasn't American until I looked it up.
And I went to Croydon to discuss our Employment Rights Act with workers there.
And the guy who plays the British dead soldier is American. Disgraceful.
Keen on the paternity rights and the maternity rights, which I know the Leader of the Opposition opposes. And whilst we were there at IKEA, they showed me their new prototype, the IKEA Shadow Cabinet. The trouble is, nobody wants to buy it. It's mainly constructed of old dead wood. And every time you lose a nut, it defects to reform.
Okay, that's actually not bad. That's not a terrible joke. Like, he delivers it like an absolute plank, but it's not. That's a pretty decent joke. Whoever writes his jokes is good. It's just this guy can't spit for shit. He's got the timing of a fucking monk. I don't know. He's got bad timing, basically. It's delivered by a spanner.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Thank you, Gennaro. Thank you to Full Mob Music with 5 gifterinos. I will just turn the alert box off for a second. Thank you.
It sounds like he doesn't know what his policy is. And this has been a farce from start to finish. On Monday, the business secretary said the Chancellor did not even realise the impact of her business rates policy. No surprise there. But yesterday, the tax office said that they did tell the government what the impact would be. So can the Prime Minister be clear?
It's got the timing of my dad, who didn't know how to pull out. Oh, spunk-loving sluts. That's not a comment on your mother, by the way. That's, I mean, yeah. It reminds me of the Billy Connolly joke, who said, "I'd like to thank the Catholic Church for the rhythm method. Otherwise, I might not be here." Actually, we'll see if we can find that bit. I just spell rhythm again. I can't fucking spell. Whatever. I'm doing
that. See, people have noticed this about me. This religious stuff. Get it out of your system. It doesn't mean a fucking thing. It's all piss and wind. It's all designed to frighten you. There's people believe in angels. There's people flying in the sky, telling God that you're masturbating. They need professional fucking help. Right. They fucking do. No. They can stick up for themselves. Fuck them. No. It's the truth. It's the fucking truth. We shall. No. Yes, Father, I think I shall today. Oh, fuck that, not confessional. No. No, do you see? Because religion's under strain just now because of the nipping about they've been doing. And have you noticed celibacy's getting the blame? And it's because of celibacy. Celibacy's a bad thing. Celibacy. There's nothing wrong with celibacy. Buddhists manage celibacy just fine because they have celibacy without whiskey, right? I never met a priest in my life who didn't like a large one. Which, now, you know as well as I do.
No, hang on a minute, that's not the right bit. Oh, I can't fucking... Oh, I can't fucking say it. Anyway, Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's funny.
Did he understand the impact of his own policy on pubs?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we're working with this sector. She hasn't explained why she said nothing about the 7,000 pubs that closed on her watch. We're doing other things on the cost of living to help people, to make sure they can get out, to spend money in pubs and hospitality, boosting the minimum wage. What did they do? They opposed it. Freezing rail fares and prescription charges. What did they do? They opposed it. £150 off energy bills. What did they do? They opposed it. She said nothing when pubs were closing, and she opposes every measure now. And she said a moment ago, I'm all right. She clearly didn't listen to the advice of Nadeem Zahawi, because what he told her, he's now made fun of it. He told her that they failed on mass migration, they failed on our armed forces, and he told her that she's leading, his words, a defunct brand the nation can no longer trust.
Basically, yeah. But we haven't really talked about that. Nadeem Zahawi, the former Tory Chancellor, joining Reform. Like, how can you realistically claim to be anti-establishment Reform when you're now just Tories? You're all just Tories now. You've got how many different members of the government that everyone despised in your party? How are you actually any different?
You're not letting anyone near him. Am I even allowed to see him? Hey, good boy. I kind of don't want. Good boy. It's okay. Good boy.
Is that full on lady?
Hey.
So the dog's protecting the baby.
No.
No wonder he's joined the Tory migration to reform. Mr. Speaker, it's the second Boris wave.
Mr. Speaker, I asked him if he understood the impact of his own policy. He didn't say yes. The reason he U-turns all the time is because he is clueless. He is blowing around like a plastic bag in the wind, no sense of direction whatsoever. And let's be clear, Mr. Speaker, this mess goes beyond pubs. The whole of the hospitality industry, cafes, hotels, restaurants, they're all being clobbered by Labour's tax hikes. There is an answer to this. Conservatives would abolish business rates for small businesses on the high street.
And pay for all
Mr.
that
Speaker,
how?
yes, they're all chuntering. He's already agreeing with us on family.
Like, what? How are you paying for that? And don't just say, like, vaguely, oh, cutting stuff. Brilliant. What does that mean? Cutting what? Go to the electorate and try that shit.
Farms tax. He's already agreeing with us on digital ID. Why doesn't he make it a hat trick and abolish business rates for the high street?
Yeah, why didn't you do it in 14 years?
The economy, and now they want to give lectures. She's wondering why nobody's listening to them. Nobody is ever going to listen to them on the economy ever again. Mr. Speaker, in 18 months, because of the decisions we've made, inflation is falling, and the Bank of England say it's coming back down to target. We've had 6 interest rate cuts in a row. Wages are up more in the first year of a Labour government than under the first...
No, that's UKIP, not Reform, with the Iron Cross thing.
10 years of their government.
They are technically
and we beat the forecasts on growth for 2025. We're turning this country around after the appalling mess that they left it in.
Absolute fucking waste of time. Thank you, Sozzled Snake. It says, happy 2026, everyone. First time I'm getting to look into the news this year. I assume all is going well, right? Right? Yeah, no, it's fine, yeah. No wars or genocide or anything going on. It's pretty chill, to be honest. 2026 going super well.
He says no one's going to listen to us. Who's going to listen to him? The winter fuel allowance, U-turn. Waspy women, U-turn. The 2-child benefit cap, U-turn. Grooming gangs inquiry, U-turn. The family farms tax, U-turn. Digital ID, U-turn.
It's just panto. It's just panto. Your electability It's behind you. Look, it's... Oh, unbelievable.
Very, 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 very cringe. Very, very, very cringe.
These are the adults that we've sent to Parliament. These are our elected representatives. This is democracy. You know, they have foreign dignitaries, like heads of other governments and heads of different parliaments, who come to Britain to learn how to do democracy.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
And what a fucking shambles this is. Maybe Guy Fawkes had the right idea. Maybe that is a legal thing to say. Disavow. I'm shaking my head, so you know that I think that's a bad idea. Please do not arrest me for the terrorist in chat.
Jury trials? We hope so. We hope so. I think that's going to be the next one, Mr. Speaker. Week after week, these poor people sitting behind
John
him
Johnson
have to
did
defend
nothing
the
wrong.
indefensible,
True.
only for him to U-turn a few days later. Mr. Speaker, one of his cabinet ministers told a journalist that what's happening at the moment is extraordinarily bad. Another said we've gone through a catastrophic series of missteps. Yet another minister said we are...
Another defection for you, Kev, in live chat. What? John Brown did have some good points, that is true.
Are so unpopular at the moment, I've come to the conclusion it's worth rolling the dice.
John Brown's body lies mouldering in the grave.
Ice on a new leader. They're right, aren't they?
Mr. Speaker, here's the difference. I changed my party, and that's why we stand here with a majority Labour government.
And the most despised Prime Minister in history.
She sits there with her party that lost 2/3 of their MPs at the last election, and she's losing more every week. They're queuing up to join the member of Clacton's laundry service for disgraced Tory politicians. Meanwhile, inflation is down.
Epic dub.
Ayatollah Khomeini is affected to reform. To be fair, he does need to look elsewhere, I think, for the future. Yeah. True. I didn't vote for you.
Wages are up and waiting lists are down. Labour's turning the corner and changing this country for the better.
Hello, it's the Morton.
Thank you,
How are you?
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure you will agree, and I hope others across the chamber will also, that we need to recognise and to celebrate achievements. And I say this because across the country, knife crime offences is going down. And of course, more needs to be done, and more should be done. But this week's figures have shown that London has had its safest year ever under the London Mayor Sadiq Khan. And in fact, homicide rate in London is the lowest ever since records began. Now, Mr. Speaker, Reform and the Conservatives repeatedly talk down our capital city. So will the Prime Minister join me in saying they...
Fucking Paul Robeson salutes in chat. Fucking legend. Listen to this voice, man.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His soul goes marching on. John Brown's body lies a his soul goes marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His soul goes marching on. The stars above in heaven now are looking kindly down. The stars above in heaven now are looking kindly down. The stars above in heaven now are looking kindly down on the grave of old John Brown. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His soul goes marching on. Glory.
Anyway, we're not playing the rest of it. We'll say copyright and pretend. Thank you, Idiosyncrasy, for gifting for resubscribing with Prime. Much love. And thank you to Two Spectral Wolves for gifting 5 membership community subs on the Twitches. Though, honestly, I'll suck you all off. It's glorious. And we're on a hype train. Apparently, you get 35% off 5 or more gifted subs. I'm being told by Twitch. Do with that information as you wish. Yeah, if we get to the next level of the hype train, I was going to say, who will I finger? Who's a bad person? I'll finger the corpse of Robert E. Lee. He was a wrong 'un. He was a wrong 'un and he should have hanged. Just saying. Jonathan Ross. Is Jonathan Ross dead? What? Did I miss that? Scott Adams is dead, but I've already said my piece, so... Whatever.
We are wrong, and will he applaud these achievements?
Well, she draws attention to the important work of the Mayor of London, and nobody should be talking.
Oh, Jonathan Ross is the name of the ice guy who killed... Oh, okay, right. Not the British TV host. Well, I won't be fingering him, but I will be hoping for his death, and then I'll finger his corpse. Yes.
I wonder if maybe you could just talk a little bit more Englishy. Right, listen. See, I've been through this before and that, no, right, so I know the score, right? You need to hear every fucking gruesome detail. That is a disaster of my fucking life, just so I can get my medication, eh? See, once I tell you what I've been through, you're going to be doubling my dose. I am going to make the hair between your arse hole and your granny stand attention, that, you know what I mean? Wonderful.
Thank you for that. Thank you to Wayward Astoran with 1312 bitties. Just a random number. Who knows what that means? But anyway, I've got to go and finger Robert E. Lee. I won't finger his horse, though. The horse didn't do anything. The horse was just doing horse stuff. It had no conception of the fascist prick it had on its back. It was a good horse, a loyal horse, that he buried with himself. What? I've said this before. I'm perfectly okay with them having statues of Confederate horses. It's the people on top of them that I have an issue with. If they want to just have cool horse statues everywhere, bang. Southern heritage, go for it. I don't give a fuck. It's the cunts on the fucking two-legged pricks on the back. That's the problem. The horse was called Traveller, yes. And by all accounts, he was a very good horse. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Talking our country down or talking London down. And she's right to say that since we came into office, the number of knife crime offences is down. But, Mr. Speaker, there is more to do. We're introducing new powers to seize knives and increasing the penalty for selling knives to under 18s. And the party opposite, what did they do? They're chuntering. They voted against those provisions. And what's obvious about London and Reform is they've got a candidate for mayor who doesn't like London, a new ex-Tory recruit who struggled to pay his taxes in this country, and a leader who spends more time in France than in his constituency.
Sir Ed David, leader of the Liberal Democrat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I associate myself and my party
I presume
with
the horse
Prime
was
Minister's
lying
comments
down.
on Iran? And can I encourage him to go even further on sanctions and also prescribe the IRG? Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, can we do more sanctions and impoverish and kill more Iranians? Whenever you hear that, by the way, when they say we should do sanctions, what they basically are saying is we should kill more of the people who live in this country. Because that's all that they do. The people in power don't feel that shit. It doesn't affect them. Look at the sanctions they put on Russia. Do you think Vladimir Putin has felt an iota of discomfort about any of it? No. The people of Russia can't get fucking foodstuffs, though. The people of Russia are fucking starving, in some cases. But Vladimir Putin's fine, and his regime is absolutely unmoved, 3 years on. So what the fuck good do sanctions do?
Speaker, Sandra is 71. She has bladder cancer. Just after Christmas, she went into her local A&E. She had to wait 31 hours to be admitted on a plastic trolley and in a plastic chair. Last year, more than 500,000 people waited for over 12 hours in A&E to be admitted, more than any year in the history of the NHS. Mr. Speaker, this corridor care crisis was created by the Conservatives, but it's got worse under Labour.
Who allowed the Conservatives to get into government in the first place, Edward? Answers on a postcard, everybody.
So will the Prime Minister end this scandal by taking up our plan to end all 12-hour A&E waits this year?
Prime Minister.
By rejoining
Can I
the
first
European
say through
Union.
him to Sandra that that's simply not acceptable for her or for anybody else, and I'd appreciate if he passes that on to her directly. We have put record investment into the NHS so we can turn this problem around, and we are turning it around. I would say to him that he puts forward his plans for change, but he never votes for the increase in investment and the measures that are needed to actually put that into practice. You can't change things without investing in them. You can't call for change and vote against a budget that puts a record investment into the NHS.
Sir Ed Davey.
Mr. Speaker, we saw what happened to the last
Because of the other
government when
things
they
in
failed
the
to
thing, yeah.
improve the NHS,
In
and
the
if the
budget.
Prime Minister's not careful, that will happen to his. Mr. Speaker, last month I asked the Prime Minister to get a grip of South East Water, who'd left thousands of people in Royal Tunbridge Wells without water. Now it's happened again, not only in Tunbridge Wells, but in East Grinstead, Burgess Hill, Haywards Heath, and other parts of Kent and Sussex.
Now, I do feel bad for the people of Kent and Sussex, because no one should have to go without water. We are a rich enough nation to have a reliable, clean drinking supply and a reliable and clean waterways system. Within reason. No one's expecting fucking sparkling, crisp tap water on, you know, fucking Evian, fucking, you know, filtered, perfect, awesome water. But just you know, reliable water supply, please. But it is ironic, I think, that the heartland of Toryism, Kent, Sussex, the home counties, that foisted a privatised water system on the entire country because they voted for Thatcher and Major and all of these cunts, are now at the sharp end of it. And all of a sudden, now we're talking about we need to do something about it. Well, I thought the free market would solve the problems. The freer the market, the freer the people. And you are free in Kent to go without fucking water and die of thirst, you daft cunts. Maybe don't vote for your own fucking impoverishment. And it's a shame, because I'm sure there are absolutely lovely people in... I'm not just sure of it. I know people who are lovely who've lived at points in Kent. And Sussex. And various of these home counties, Tory fucking dens of depravity. And they're good people, and they shouldn't have to suffer because of this. But if Tories having to go to fucking standpipes to get water means we get a fucking shit back, our water back. It's our water. As if someone owns... Look, just think about that for a second. As if there is a private entity that owns H2O. That's their water now. They just own it. What the fuck is that? It's the same with land. I've always felt that was fucking mental. What do you mean you own land? What, so I can't walk on that bit of land? There's nothing physically stopping me from doing it, so why can't I just walk on that land? I'm not going to do anything to it. I have no wish to damage the land in any way. What do you mean you own the land? How did you come by this land? How did the person who came before it... Oh, someone stole it. If you go back far enough, some cunt stole it. And now someone else now just owns it. Fucking ridiculous. Anyway, nationalise the fucking water, you daft bastards. The private sector cannot solve these problems. If it could, it would have. And we took a perfectly functional, decent national service, sold it off on the cheap to Tory bastards who have destroyed it.
Families, pensioners, schools, care homes, businesses without any water since Saturday. And the water company bosses involved now stand accused of misleading Parliament over their failures.
No, really? People lied to Parliament? Wow. You'd better give them a slap on the wrist and do nothing functionally about it at all whatsoever. Don't change the structure, just tut-tut at the people. Or say, you can't have a £10 million bonus, you can only have an £8 million bonus. Don't you feel silly? And I'm sure they'll definitely stop. Thank you everyone for the hype train success. I've got to go and finger a dead bastard. Partner Push 2025. Why wouldn't Coca-Cola want to advertise on this content? Really, I ask you. I mean, I've never sent any paramilitaries in to kill trade unionists. Coca-Cola have. Who's the real bad guy here? Yes. Thank you to Rachel. I've turned the noise off, so apologies. He says, what's a little... Is that Guardia or Giardia between friends, really? Is that meant to be Garda, as in the Irish police? Or LaGuardia, as in the New York airport? You have to refine what you mean there. I don't know. But thank you.
Speaker, South East Water keeps failing its customers over and over again. So will the government immediately strip them of their licence?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for raising this, because the situation is clearly totally...
Oh, Giardia is a water bug. Oh, well, there you go. My knowledge of waterborne diseases is not fantastic. I'll be entirely honest with you, chap.
Totally unacceptable.
Also, I'll just show you this. I've got the other... so on my second screen, I've got the YouTube chat and all that open. And I've just paused... I forgot that I hadn't paused the YouTube video of the thing. And I've just paused Ed Davey looking like he is straining out a very, very tricky shit. That is... Oh, come on, you bastard! Oh! Get thee behind me, Satan! Etc. Anyway, so that's what I'll be looking at for at least part of the rest of the stream.
He will want to know that ministers have chaired daily emergency meetings to hold the company to account to deliver on the change that's urgently needed at the moment in all the areas that he mentioned. We've also doubled the compensation rates for individuals and businesses, and we're absolutely clear the company must urgently invest in infrastructure, and we'll publish the water white paper in due course. But we are holding those daily meetings to hold this company to account.
Dr. Maria Timble.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm delighted by today's Northern Powerhouse Rail announcement. A down payment on the north of England's future. Fulfilling Lord Blunkett's rail plan for Yorkshire also
Morgan McSweeney question.
included upgrades to the Penistone Line train, the spine that connects south to West Yorkshire, coursing through 8 constituencies, serving 500,000 people. When I was growing up, my dad opened Silkstone Common Station as a Dodder councillor. I want my legacy to be 2 trains an hour, Tidball, for our Penistone Line.
Also, it's penis tone, obviously. Also, look at the beard on this ginger cunt. I can't really zoom in, but look at the ginger guy, centre screen right now. There, look at him. Look at the beard on him. Oh, it's fucking beautiful. Look at that. Oh. I want to lick chocolate from that man's beard. Ho ho ho. Sorry. I didn't need to make it king.
Will the Prime Minister meet with me to discuss how we can
It's
secure
me.
funding
It's not me.
for the second phase of the Penistone Line upgrade scheme to achieve 2 services an hour?
Prime Minister.
Can I pay tribute to her as a dedicated campaigner on this and so many other issues? And I'm delighted that today we're announcing a transformation in journeys across the north. Of course, it was said and promised many times by the party opposite, but never delivered. We're taking action and delivering.
Is the member for fingering Ho going to speak? I'm not sure. But I honestly think if we're talking about Northern MPs, surely the MP for Cockermouth has to have a word on this one, surely. That is a real place. Britain is a very serious country, okay?
At this very moment, Britannia burns.
And if your penis tone is burning, go to the doctor.
Kirklees Council to prepare the business case for the first phase of upgrading the line, and I know the Transport Secretary would be happy to discuss the details of that with her.
Robin Swan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Question time last
Oh
week. The Prime
no! No! Whenever you hear a Northern Irish voice, it's always... Look, if you're Northern Irish, or just Irish in the 6 counties of the north, as you should really be considered, don't get me wrong, but like whenever you're in Parliament and you hear that accent, or one of those accents of the north, you're always worried they're going to say some crazy shit. Now, I don't think this guy is one of the absolute mentaloids, but I'm not sure. I think he's new. We shall see, though. He is sat just behind the DUPs.
To intimate that the government was bringing forward amendments to the Northern Ireland Troubles Bill. Within hours of him saying that, the Irish government's Minister for Foreign Affairs...
Oh no, I was wrong, he's Ulster Unionist Party. Oh, he's mental. Okay, cool.
...said that any significant changes must have the full agreement of both governments. So, Mr. Speaker, can I ask the Prime Minister, is he intending bringing forward amendments to a flawed Troubles Bill and give a reassurance that the Irish government does not have a veto over legislation in this House?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for raising this and tell him I spoke to the Taoiseach in December
Sometimes may be good,
this,
sometimes may be shit.
Did he say Taoiseach?
Cockermouth? I hardly know her.
You just assaulted me.
Taking liberties. Okay. Liberties. Thank you.
know he's committed to delivering on this. The new legacy unit has been established within the Garda, and I'm confident the Irish government's other commitments will be delivered as set out in the joint.
Also, when he just to make a serious point, when he talks about them the Irish government having a veto in this house and all the rest of it, it's a jointly implemented strategy. So of course they have a veto. because they're one of the two like contracting parties in this. It's not that they're vetoing a piece of legislation that the British Parliament would pass, it's that they can refuse to implement it because it's not their legislation. Fuck's sake. Or do you think the Irish government should be beholden? I mean, you probably do think the Irish government should be beholden to laws passed in Westminster, but that's not how it fucking works. There was a war about it and everything.
Framework. For the first time, information held by the Irish authorities is being shared with a reformed legacy commission, meaning more families and victims of...
Yeah, he said Taoiseach, which just say I'm sure that's a Ukrainian footballer, isn't it? Andrei Taoiseach. I think so.
Terrorism, getting information about what happened to their loved ones.
Lyndon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I welcome the Prime Minister's leadership and our government's clear commitment to tackling child poverty, recognising that
Morgan McSweeney question.
high-quality education is one of the best routes out of poverty. However, young people in one of the most deprived areas of my constituency, attending Churchill Community College, have been taught in temporary accommodation.
Of course, Churchill Community College, named after the little dog. So.
Over 16 months. Can the Prime Minister use his good offices to expedite funding from the Department for Education to support rebuilding this school? Thank you.
Prime Minister. Can I say I'm very proud of what we're doing on child poverty, lifting 500,000 children out of poverty. The party opposite says their policy is to plunge them straight back into poverty, and they should be ashamed of that.
Your favourite place names are places like Gary, Indiana and Eugene, Oregon. Yeah, I like that. What I especially like in America is I get big places naming themselves after stuff. So like Memphis, Tennessee. Big town, right? A proper city. So it's named after an ancient Egyptian thing. It's got a glass pyramid and everything. But it's like, you'll have some shit like, I don't know, Paris, Idaho or some shit like that. And it's just some little bumfuck nowhere town. And you're like, Paris. You named yourself after Paris, the massive metropolitan city, one of the great cities of Earth. And you've got a population of 784. Or like, I don't know, fucking Cairo. Fucking Cairo, Illinois or some shit, you know. Come on now. Let's not be silly. Who was it who did the trip across America in Independence? They just went to towns called Independence. And they could only get gas station... They could only use like mom and pop gas stations. And they went from place to place doing like that run across America. Just going to places called Independence. It was very good. Watched it a long time ago. There's a place in Germany called Wankdorf. There's the Wankdorf Stadium, isn't there? Yeah. Oh no! Oh fuck it, who cares? We'll just skip forward to there.
Linked to sexual exploitation of children forfeits any right to give lectures about protecting women and girls. What will the Prime Minister do?
It was that one of Dave Gorman's... Dave Gorman is the kind of bloke who would only become famous in Britain. Just, like, his entire life is just doing weird little adventures, and I quite like that.
To stop any political party.
Honestly, one of my favourite shows as a kind of young adult was... was it called How Many Dave Gormans or something? Where he just went around finding as many people called Dave Gorman as he could. And he had a whole graph of Dave Gorman's per mile travelled and stuff. It was fucking brilliant. It was so funny and silly and it was gorgeous.
From putting tech billionaires ahead of protecting our children.
Can I thank her for raising this? And it's astonishing that Reform defend Musk on this issue. It is complete... I said the images...
A posh girl in a pub ordered a glass of cake. What kind of measurement is that? A glass of cake? That isn't a unit of measurement. You have a slice of cake. I will even give you something as bland as a piece of cake. A glass, what, like a pint glass full of cake. That's confusing. I was as confused as I went into a pub in Cambridge once and asked for a packet of pork scratchings, and they said they didn't have any. And I said, what, you mean you've run out? And he went, no, we don't have them. As in, they don't stock them. And I was so... it was like, are you a fucking alien? What do you mean you don't have pork scratchings? You're a pub. You have two things. No, three things, bare minimum, right? Alcohol, peanuts, and scratchings. You have to have them, otherwise you're not a fucking pub. What you are is a piss house. Anyway, the point, but I was genuinely like, for the rest of the night, I was just like, that pub didn't have, because we went to a lot of other places and stuff. I was like, that pub didn't have fucking pork scratching. That changed my life that night. That scampi fries as well. Although, I'll be honest with you, the scampi fry is optional. But they probably should have the scampi fries, I think. That's usually one of the things they have. Yeah, a real dive bar won't have the scampi fries. That night, Kev's belief in Britain died. Well, it wasn't my belief in Britain. It was the foundation of my understanding of reality crumbled just a little bit. Okay? Just a little bit. I was like, I'm not certain. It's like, you know that feeling when you sit on a toilet and the seat moves beneath you? Right? And you're like vulnerable. Because there's nothing really you can do about it. You sort of just have to ride it out. Because all of your weight is on the seat. Your feet are doing none of the work. So you're just like, oh fuck, whatever happens, I'm just going to have to deal with the consequences. And you're just hoping it's like it just slides a little bit and stops and you can like check the situation out. It was like that. But I wasn't sat down. I was stood up. And I wasn't shitting. I was just in a pub trying to order some scratchings to go with my beverage. Sorry, puke. That was so northern. Oh.
Disgusting. Their position is disgusting on this. This is weaponising images of women and children that should never be made. And that's why we're acting. Reform not only...
Now, he's right, of course, but he did put noted Yum Yum friend into the position in Washington, didn't he? So, like, none of their hands are clean. As I briefly described earlier in a little rant, this is a den of inequity. To quote, we did Star Trek yesterday, we'll do Star Wars today. This is a den of, a hive of scum and villainy. I think is a very, very fine description. They're all disgusting, degenerate filth. Apart from, like, maybe a dozen of them, who are, like, vaguely redeemable. But the rest of them are absolute scum.
Reform refused to do anything about it.
Den of Vipers works too. Yeah.
They would scrap...
Yeah, Solly the Boyle, yeah. Den of Vipers also works. Really just evil fucks. None of them have got a leg to stand on.
The Online Safety Act that stops children accessing content like pornography, suicide, self-harm and eating disorders. They're an absolute disgrace. And
What's this? Palestine action hunger strikes have ended. Oh, okay. Do we have news about that? Where you getting the news for that? I'm not seeing that. Hang on. No. Where are you getting the news for that one? I haven't seen this. Oh, here we go. Right. 3 Palestine action protesters end their hunger strike. 4 who had paused their strikes chose not to continue after government opts against giving contract to Elbit Systems UK. Hey! Okay. So they won then. Okay, cool. Awesome. 3 Palestine Action-affiliated prisoners have announced to end the end of their hunger strike after the government decided not to award a £2 billion contract to the Israeli arms firm subsidiary Albit Systems UK, with another 4 who had paused their protest choosing not to continue. Round of applause, lads. Where are we? Absolutely fucking awesome. Awesome shit. Is Helena going to join us? Helena calls for aid. What are you talking about? What? Oh, right. No Justice wants to know. Yeah, I'm down for that. Yeah. Okay. What does she want to talk about that? The thing or something else? What? You have to watch PMQs again though. Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, I'm like fucking 2/3 of the way in. Hang on a minute. The girl has gone longer than Bobby Sands on Hunger Strike. True, that's incredible. But anyway, the good news there. They did amazing work, the Hunger Strikers. Fucking amazing work. And God bless them. I've no doubt that they played some part in the government's decision. Because the idea that they would award that $2 billion contract, £2 billion contract, which is like $2.5 billion US dollars. And then have one of these hunger strikers die would be a really bad look. So hopefully that played some part in it. Why do I have to type in a 4 fucking number passcode to get into my own fucking DMs? I'm not going to go through PMQs again. I'm going to see what she wants to do, and then, like, if she wants to watch PMQs from the very beginning, like, I'm done. I can't. I'm not watching that again. Because you got to bear in mind, I've been going, what, an hour and a half or something already. Tell her the Google Meet things in the Twitter DMs. Foreign Minister of Denmark. What? What is this? That is not what I was after at all. What? Oh. Hello?
Howdy, Kev. How are we doing?
I'm very well. Now, I don't want to waste anyone's time here. So, are you looking to watch PMQs from the start?
I was, you know, I was potentially going to, but I am aware that you have already gotten through most of PMQs, right?
Yeah, I'm like 2/3 of the way in, and I'm at the stage now where I could just give it up because, like, it's shit.
I mean, it is shit. Have they asked the Damien Egan question yet?
Oh yeah, that was right at the start. Yeah. That was the first question, yeah. Which, like, I didn't even know about that story, and then I looked into it. Oh, it's a lie. Oh, they're just lying. Okay.
Yeah, cause I think that's worth talking about because there's a couple of clips from some news folk.
I'll tell you what we can do. We can scrub back to that, watch that question, and then you can show us the bits or whatever.
Yeah, let me just get things sorted. I'll pop you on screen on my end, and I will grab because I can grab you the couple of clips. One's Nick Ferrari, and one's perennial seatless Sebastian.
Oh, House of, as I like to call it.
House. No seat in the house of pain.
Of pain. There you go. Lovely stuff. Yes, hang on. Let's get to the Damien Egan question. Here we go.
And others, in addition to my duties in this house, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Right, yes. Okie dokie. I'll share with you. 1 second. Apologies, chat. I'm doing tech on the fly, which, you know.
Sorry, my bad.
Never my forte. When I'm not on the fly, when I've got time to plan, I can't fucking do it. So there we go. Right. So
1 second. Let me just get my thing clipped to where you've shared.
No problem. Everyone
Roll.
in both of the chats, give us money immediately. Otherwise, I will bring down a world of fire upon you. I won't do that.
Hellfire and also brimstone as well.
Yeah, I'm not the IDF.
So true, so true.
Baby murderers. They murder.
Right, all good to go.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So the story of Damien Egan, Labour MP for one of the Bristol seats. We're about to hear.
Northwest, I think it is. Northeast.
Yeah.
Well, any of the seats that's definitely going to get taken by the Green Party at the next election.
Very much so. Much like Holborn and St Pancras looks like it's going to fall to the Greens. Fingers very much crossed for that. If the first sitting MP, Prime Minister, to get dethroned, as it were, in an election is the current incumbent, I'll be very, very pleased.
Especially if Zach runs in the seat too.
Oh my God! If the Z man runs, by the way, hello there, Zach. I know you're listening, mate. And beats Keith. Honestly, I may never stop jizzing. I might actually just run out of fluid and desiccate and become a withered husk from how exciting that would be for me. Apologies for ruining your bike ride, Mr. Polanski. Anyway, yes. Anyway, so Damien Egan is a Jewish man, albeit he was a Catholic convert, but he's still Jewish. There's not a problem with that. Was apparently banned from, or was told he was not allowed to attend a school in his constituency, which is a thing that MPs do all the time, because of certain reasons. We're about to hear one of the potential reasons from an MP at Prime Minister's question today. Indeed, the first question asked after the perfunctory question 1 nonsense. Shall we take a look at this, let's say, interesting interpretation of events?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and can I associate myself with the Prime Minister's remarks, particularly about Iran? Visiting schools in my Spelthorne constituency is one of the great joys of this job, so I was frankly appalled to hear that the Labour Member of Parliament for Bristol North East was prevented from visiting a school in his constituency because he is Jewish.
Whoa. Massive if true, chat. Because that would be an act of overt and disgusting bigotry, if that were indeed the case, that a Jewish man was banned from attending a school for his Jewishness.
Indeed so. It would be textbook racism. Indeed. It would be textbook anti-Semitism if the sole reason was just prejudice against him. I mean, I guess for his religion, because he's not ethnically Jewish, right? He is a religious convert. But either way, it would be bigotry, right?
Massively so.
This is anti-Semitism, and it is happening in plain sight.
Exactly.
With all due respect to the Prime Minister, I don't want to know how he feels about this. I want to know what he's going to do about it.
Prime Minister.
Now, we can watch the Prime Minister's response if you wish, but basically he waffles. Because that's what he does. He's the Prime Minister who waffles.
He does.
But the basic point there is being made, that a man was banned for being Jewish. Now, is that actually the case?
An interesting question, Kevin. A very interesting question. Are you suggesting that potentially a member of the House of Commons is telling an easily disprovable lie?
Well, look, far be it from me to use such unparliamentary language as to accuse an honourable, or indeed right honourable member of lying in the chamber, for which I would be banned from that chamber for a day if I sat there, which I don't. So fuck it, yes, they're lying. Yes, they are actually lying, yes. And we're about to see the ways in which that it is a lie, obviously.
So the first point, right, is that now he is the vice chair of Labour Friends of Israel.
Yes, which, let's be honest, is a massive lobbying group for Israeli interests, as if such a thing was even needed in the British establishment. And frankly, I think is a conflict of interest beyond acceptability, because you're literally acting as the agent of a foreign state at that point.
Indeed so, indeed so. And it's not like, right, Labour Friends of Israel have been quiet about their support for Israel in its genocide in Gaza. In fact, they put out an open statement saying that they disagreed with the government's position on restricting arms licenses that would be used to commit said genocide.
Yeah.
And they also went on paid trips to have photo opportunities with Israeli President Isaac Herzog, somebody whose statements, his genocidal statements, are part of the evidence for South Africa's case against Israel for the crime of genocide at the International Court of Justice, right? Like, that is hardly plausible deniability, champ. I don't know about you, but I don't think that you could necessarily say, oh, well, he's just fine with the country itself rather than necessarily its political decisions. Of course, those two things are inseparable, but regardless, right? Like, even if you wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt.
And his husband was a former member of the notorious 8300 unit of the IDF as well.
Indeed, that is a blackmail unit, essentially. He was a recruiter, so he was a software engineer for the IDF himself, but he also did recruitment for Unit 8200, which is a blackmail spy operation, which in some cases has tried to trap gay Palestinians by blackmailing them about, you know, essentially releasing information that might lead to them getting killed to get them to become unwilling spies for Israel and Palestine. You know, real sick shit.
Real sick shit, and also puts pay to the idea that Israel is a beacon for gay rights in the Middle East, doesn't it? You know, when they try and do their pinkwashing, turns out they're not so great for the gays either. Just saying. Anyway, yes, sorry, 8200, I did get the number wrong. Apologies. Anyway, so yeah, he's not exactly got his hands clean in all of this.
No.
This is anti-Semitism that is allowed, tolerated, and indulged.
Can you start that bit again? Sorry, my something went off on my end.
Okay.
This is anti-Semitism that is allowed, tolerated, and indulged by this particular school. The spurious argument that because you're a friend of Israel, you can't visit a school in your constituency. I mean, I was thinking about this afterwards. I am a member of the Christian Church. I'm confirmed in the Anglican Church. I repeat that. Does that mean I agree with everything the Archbishop of Canterbury says? No, of course it doesn't. I can be a friend of Israel.
Especially now it's a woman. Disgusting.
So true. But I mean,
woke degeneracy.
There's a difference between the entirety of the broad different myriad of opinions that make up the people who are part of the Anglican Church, right? Criticisable though they may be, right? And the political decisions of a state and the entirety of the statecraft, right? Obviously, I talked before about the idea that the political decisions of Israel are inseparable from the state itself. You know, people will try and defend it by saying, well, you can be a friend of Israel while not being a friend of Netanyahu. I'm just like, why do you think Netanyahu is the longest serving prime minister in the history of Israel? Why do you think he keeps winning elections? Why do you think that the Israeli people are overwhelmingly in support of the genocide? Why are they overwhelmingly in support of land grabs in the West Bank? Why are they overwhelmingly in support of things like the expulsion of Palestinians, potentially to Somaliland, which might be the new thing that might be happening, right? Like, these things are inseparable because the ideology of Zionism itself is the reason why we're in this position, which is why the state of Israel exists in the first place. This is not the same as a disparate group of people who all believe in the same God. This is a political and statecraft project in what was initially Palestine, pre-Balfour Declaration, pre-Nakba, that has created this overwhelming consensus, which Israel has become a totalitarian ethno-state if you are a Palestinian, right? Like, no one would make these same arguments about Russia. No one would make these same arguments about apartheid South Africa, right? There is no Labour Friends of Russia that gets scrutinized if they are involved in, I don't know, select committees that are questioning people over decisions made with regard to Russian football clubs, for example. None of these things happen. Why specifically Israel, one might ask?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good question. Again, you always have to differentiate between Zionism and just a person being Jewish, of course, because I would argue that Zionism does not represent Jewishness. It is, in fact, a succubus upon Jewishness. It has taken Jewishness as its vehicle to achieve a political aim. It's not religious in the slightest. You can, and indeed many of the greatest people I've ever met have been Jewish people who despise and fight against the state of Israel, at least in part because they dare to speak on their behalf to do a genocide, which of course is a despicable thing to do.
At least, at the very least for Nick Robbins, at the very least for Nick Ferrari here, he is at least engaging with the actual argument. He's not lying about the motivations of the people who wanted this guy disinvited, unlike the honourable member of the House of Commons who lied about it being because he's Jewish, right? Obviously, Nick Ferrari is a moron saying that it's anti-Semitic to oppose Friends of Israel, right?
I was just going to say, I think because he was saying it was anti-Semitic, I mean, he might not be outright declaring it in quite the same way, but he's essentially making the same argument. If you're saying this is motivated by anti-Semitism, you're essentially saying he was banned because he was Jewish, which isn't true.
Well, that is also true, yeah. I mean, that's fair. But I mean, like, the statement in the Commons is so brazenly untrue. Brazenly untrue that, again, like, all you must assume then is that you must therefore, conversely, if you are that MP, assume that all Jewish people support genocide, which of course they do.
That's a stiff dick of poop.
Very much so.
And not agree with what Benjamin Netanyahu does. Can you not see the distinction? But back to this school. None of you, the callers who phoned just, it's absolutely justifiable. You can't dance on the head of a pin on this one now, because the same school successfully lobbied, the school has a lot to answer here, doesn't it? Successfully lobbied, a speaker from an Israeli tech firm couldn't go there. I had to tell.
Yeah. Why is that controversial?
Yeah, it's almost like this very specific Israeli tech firm. Thank you to Femi for pointing this out, because I didn't know this, right? This very specific Israeli tech firm is like a defense tech firm that is incredibly close with the Israeli government and has literally had Netanyahu as a guest speaker.
Yep. On an allied point, did you see that the hunger strike, the Palestine Action affiliated hunger strike has ended because the British government didn't give a £2 billion contract to Albert Systems, which is good, and that's a victory for them, and that's awesome because I'm sure the pressure they applied to the government had some role in that decision. So good for them. Honestly, you're the best of us.
I mean, we cannot hold a candle to the efforts they have put into defending, the whole of the ability of us to be able to have a broad fight against Zionism in this country.
Indeed, I mean, we talk about putting your body and soul into it, and they literally did. They were potentially days from starvation, moments from starvation.
Tell you, my friends, anti-Semitism is alive and very well currently in this country. This is anti-Semitism that is allowed.
And literally, I go, anti-Semitism in life and well provides no evidence for it, right? Because again, he would have to provide evidence, right, that their motivation was because this person was Jewish, which he hasn't provided. Like, you can say, if you want to, that you think their justification of the disinvitation because of their links to Israeli tech firms and Labour Friends of Israel is misguided. You could even call it necessarily, like, bigoted on the grounds of their Israeli nationality, which we're going to come to later on in the stream, right? It would be a stupid point, but at least it would be coherent in terms of the logic behind the argument, even if the actual rationale is stupid, right? But he's not even provided a justification for it being anti-Semitic, other than just, well, Israel means Jews and Jews means Israel. I'm going to conflate the apartheid ethno-state with an entire ethnic group the world over, which is, of course, in itself anti-Semitic.
And interestingly, is not a member. The person in question is not an ethnic member of that group either.
No, exactly.
It's mad. Anyway, please be upstanding, everybody, because the House of Pain is in effect, y'all. The House of Pain is in effect, and anyone who steps up is getting wrecked.
Time to jump around.
Quite so.
What's on my mind today is a story that I think should really shock everyone in this country. Damien Egan is not a name.
Is it the fact that you are a 23-year-old with grey hair?
Apparently he's 36. I mean, he's still a pretty ropey 36, mate.
He is. That's ridiculous.
I'm 34.
Yeah. I'm 2 years older than him, and I look a decade younger.
Literally.
Mad stuff.
many listeners will recognise. He's the Labour MP for Bristol North East, who was elected for the first time at the last election. And last year, he was due to visit the Bristol Brunel Academy in his patch. Nothing extraordinary about that. But the visit was cancelled after the Palestine Solidarity Campaign and the National Education Union both campaigned to stop this Jewish Member of Parliament doing his job.
No, they didn't campaign for that. He was still in Parliament. He can still vote and take part in debates. He just wasn't invited, or was disinvited from a school. He wasn't stopped from doing his job. What the fuck are you talking about? The way they have to big this up, like, oh, what, they barred him from entering the House of Commons? That's disgraceful. No, they didn't. Shut the fuck up. They stopped him having a photo up at a school that would get into the local paper. That's why they do these things. Don't pretend they give a shit about these kids.
These far-left campaigners claimed that Mr Egan, given his role as vice-chair of Labour Friends of Israel, must be stopped. They planned to picket the school. They agitated among staff. They claimed their MP's presence would inflame the teachers. Parents even threatened to keep their children at home.
Yeah, because people don't like baby murder. And this man supports baby murder.
I mean, he's literally married to a guy who worked for a fucking Israeli blackmail operation, or he recruited for an Israeli blackmail operation, right? In service of an apartheid state. This is basic BDS. Yeah. In the same way, if somebody said, I support the apartheid government of South Africa, then of course they would say the same thing. In the same way as if someone said, I am a friend of the Russian government, I'm a friend of Putin, right? In the same way that we would do the same if Nathan Gill wanted to visit this school, you know?
Indeed so. And as with apartheid South Africa, there were many fine people who left apartheid South Africa to seek their place elsewhere in the world. And those people were welcomed warmly. You know, sports people, artists, just general people who didn't want to live under apartheid and went elsewhere. And people weren't like, ew, South Africans, we're anti-South African bigots. No, they were fine with that. They hated the political governance of that place and wanted it to be destroyed. Exactly. And it was for the betterment of mankind. Let's hope the same process takes place in the Middle East too.
So much so for all of Elon Musk's claims about the idea that unless white people are in all total control, the people that they've oppressed will enact vengeance upon them, when every instance in history has shown that to be not the case. Like, you look at when the Native Americans were absorbed into America. There was no reprisal. There was no reprisal against white South Africans when apartheid was ended.
Yeah, every supremacist endeavour has always been prolonged by people who argued servile insurrection, right? If we let these people go, they'll kill us all in our sleep. And then when they were let go, they didn't. Because people aren't like innately bloodthirsty savages, but regardless of what you think of different racial groupings, okay? They're not. They don't want to kill you. They just want you to leave them the fuck alone. That's it.
Quite.
Now, these campaigners claim victory, but victory for what, though? Threats and abuse, all in the name of so-called safeguarding. Now, had Mr Egan been of a different background, the Bristol...
What abuse? What abuse? Protesting isn't abuse. Having your parliamentary record, having your political interests scrutinised is not abuse. What the fuck is this? What the fuck am I listening to? Like, the pathetic small bean politicians going, oh, you can't scrutinise me and my political opinions because that's abuse. I'm sorry, right? You're a political representative. You're an elected member of the mother of all parliaments. It is your job to be impartial. It is your job to be of moral, upstanding character. And being a friend, right? Not just any friend, but a vice chair of a lobbying group for an apartheid ethno-state that kills children is not a moral, upstanding member of society. I'm sorry, you just aren't. It is not abuse to question that.
Yeah. And he doesn't have like some absolute de facto right to this. An MP is given the privilege to go into these places. He's not a teacher. He doesn't work at this establishment. He can be invited or indeed disinvited. Now, if he were disinvited for being Jewish, I would argue that's wrong, but he clearly wasn't. And you know he wasn't. So please stop lying.
Yeah, like none of us are disputing the idea that if the sole reason for him being disinvited was his religion, we would all be condemning it immediately. But it's not even coming into it. It's totally irrelevant to this. Totally irrelevant.
Yeah. Like, I'm for banning Christians who are members of the group Labour Friends of Israel from attending schools as well.
Indeed.
And
quite so.
Muslims and Hindus and atheists and anything else. Ists. Okay?
Well, yeah, if someone, if there was then a Hindutva MP, right?
Yeah.
If there was a Hindu who was just like openly supportive of Modi's fascist regime in India, I would have the exact same opinion.
Absolutely.
But we don't have those, right? For some reason, we don't have many Hindutva MPs who are totally beholden to the interests of Narendra Modi, right?
No.
Yet for some reason, we tolerate this when it comes to Israel.
Absolute madness.
Brunel Academy would have not likely dared to cancel this visit. Ministers have been decrying this intimidation this morning, but there is some...
Intimidation? Not being invited to a school is now intimidation. I mean, cry-bully nonsense from Israel is nothing new, but this takes it to a new level, I think. This is a new, like, peak of almost like satire-proof bullshit, I think, at this point. The idea that being disinvited from a school is intimidation is nonsense. Like, how weak and pathetic are you? You think that's intimidation?
It's hysteria. This is genuine hysterical. Like, this is hysterical commentary.
Yeah, absolute nonsense. And like the fact that you're going so overboard with it, just like with the Maccabi Tel Aviv stuff. The fact that you're literally selling your entire soul for what here? To allow violent hooligans into the country, or to protect the interests of a private lobbying group in a party you already despise anyway? Like, what are you doing? How beholden to Israel are you exactly that you'll go to these extents for seemingly no benefit for yourself or your politics at all? Doesn't make sense to me. Which is why people turn to like, oh well, maybe it's money. Are they literally being paid? Or is it more informal than that? It's just, if you don't say the right things, you don't get to work at places anymore. So you're not being directly paid by the Israeli government, but the incentive financially is there.
Well, that's the reality, of course, as we're seeing from the whole saga when it comes to Greenland and Venezuela, is that you are not allowed to be a high-profile political actor, whether elected or in the media, unless you are servile to American unipolar interests. It's just simple as that, right? Like,
and indeed,
you must support Israel. Sorry, you must support America's power brokers in the region in the Middle East. You must support them regardless of what they do. You must support the American government when they're engaging like actual imperialism across the globe, and you have to support the whims of the White House's foreign policy internationally regardless, right? Like, even if you're in the opposition, you have to ask, right, Antony Blinken very nicely in Munich, whether or not that your own MPs can vote for a ceasefire. That's the reality of being a political actor in this country. You are beholden to the American empire.
Yeah, and as has been pointed out in chat, Michael Rosen, the former children's poet laureate, and a fantastic human being, a Jewish British man, a writer, and a performance poet, and all the rest of it, who most people will know, I think, from the nice meme thing that's out there. Anyway, he is an outspoken opponent of the Israeli government and has been disinvited from various occasions because of his support of the Palestinian people. I didn't hear anyone going crazy about how this was intimidation of Michael Rosen, the former children's poet laureate, after all. No, because he doesn't support your team here, does he? It's okay to cancel those that you don't like.
Exactly.
Something rotten here that I think has to be called out. As a society, we should be asking ourselves why we have allowed ourselves to get to this very dark place. Jewish MPs should be allowed to go about their jobs just like any other member of parliament.
And they are, so you have nothing to worry about. Yeah.
Like, was Gerald Kaufman ever disinvited from anywhere?
Nope.
Was Gerald Kaufman ever treated in the way that Damien Egan is being treated, despite, of course, being one of the most prominent Jewish MPs of like the last half century?
Indeed.
No,
no,
because he wasn't a friend of he wasn't like a Labour Friends of Israel person, was he?
No. It's almost like it's not to do with religion or ethnicity, but to do with politics. It's a political thing. If you support genocide, people might not want you around.
Jewish people are being treated differently in our society, and the incident in Bristol has to be a wake-up call. The ministers who say they are appalled at Mr Egan should do something about it. It's easy to say that we need...
What should they do? Override the safeguarding rules the school has imposed to force people that the school and the parents of the children that attend there do not want to attend? Like, what? So what about if the government want to send a fucking murderer to the school? Should the school not be allowed to oppose that either because the murderer was Jewish? No! Don't be fucking stupid! The primary concern of any school is initially the safety of its pupils. It has to be, because no learning can take place in an unsafe environment. Okay? So you have to have safety. One of which is that you don't want your kids being exposed to evil things like, I don't know, someone who supports baby murder. Perhaps. Or do you think the government should just be able to override everything? Do you want just some sort of totalitarian state where the government can say, no, fuck you? No, you're not allowed to have any of these local rules whatsoever. No. Like, what the fuck? What kind of conservatism is this exactly that he's pronouncing here? I feel like I'm more conservative than him now. Like, I don't think the national government should be dictating to local schools everything they fucking do, because that's mad micromanagement on behalf of a genocidal state.
Well, that's because Conservatives aren't conservative anymore. I mean, we all know this has been the post-Thatcher administration. I think if anything should show you that Conservatives aren't conservative anymore is that they're very happy to rip up the kind of the sanctity of the rule book when it comes to the discussion around citizenship for the Egyptian guy and for Shamima Begum, you know?
Yeah.
It's all about, you know, the short-term political interests of the government of the day in wanting to look tough on people they perceive as persona non grata, rather than holding up the sanctity of the rule of law and equality under that law that is supposed to be like the fundamental basis of conservative justice policy.
Yeah. It's good that you mentioned the Shamima Begum case, because I think that is the day that, like, one nation conservatism was officially put to rest. It doesn't exist anymore. And I think David Davis, of all people, a man I don't particularly like, don't have that much respect for, but I will say is, to some extent, a relatively principled conservative, literally stood up and said that she should be brought home. If she's committed crimes, she should be brought home as a British citizen and put on trial here. And if necessary, jailed here.
Even Farage considered,
Yeah, look, it's even if at that point, like, and this is the thing, I've said this before, you don't fight for other people's rights just for them, but for yourself, because if they can treat Shamima Begum that way, they're just telling you how they would treat you if they could get away with it.
True.
So you don't fight for Shamima Begum because you think you give a fuck about her or you like her. In fact, fuck it. The same would be the case for like an actual terrorist or some shit. If they're British, they brought home and tried here, not left to languish in Guantanamo Bay forever. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. And the thing is that, again, as well, these people who purport to be patriots, purport to like think about the national interests and the sanctity of the nation state, and then they're allowing the nation state of Britain to have its policies and its internal politics dictated to from the fucking US State Department and their fucking pet and their emotional support ethno-state in the Middle East.
Well, literally, Ed Davey, I think one of the good things he has tried to do is that he said he wants a public judge-led inquiry into Russian interference in British politics. You know what? I think a perfectly noble thing. I think there has been a lot of dirty Russian money sloshing about, especially in the Conservative Party. But either way, he has absolutely no problem with the fact that we are literally just America's little lapdog, and literally we have essentially paid actors on behalf of the Israeli government in Parliament. Dozens of them. That's fine. We don't need to investigate that in the slightest. That can just be ignored. We need to focus on, like, maybe the two of them that are Russian or some shit. Like, what? It's maddening to see the disparate way in which these two countries get treated.
This like, happened last Sept. Why a story
fuck,
now?
Putin and the Russian government, but like, surely the Israeli government are way worse. Look at the numbers of journalists that have been killed in the respective wars that have taken place there. It's mad. Anyway,
I mean, like, yeah, literally. I mean, none of us here are in any way kind of got anything positive to say about Vladimir Putin. Universal condemnation, just like any liberal would say.
Yeah.
But Netanyahu has done far worse, right?
Far worse, yeah.
Far worse.
Yeah. This happened last September. Why is it a story now? Well, because it was asked about in Parliament today, I suppose. It was raised as an issue. But, yeah, it did happen in September, yeah.
Well, it was talked about yesterday morning. Like, Nick Ferrari was talking about this yesterday morning. This has just been brought up because one would presume somebody in the pro-Zionist media decided that it would be a good thing to add to the story round, given that it would dovetail into their hysterical coverage of the Maccabi Tel Aviv shit.
That was mad. I mean, honestly, all you need to do with that Maccabi Tel Aviv committee hearing in Parliament was literally just have the members' interests thing at the start. Just play that. So they said, has anyone got any conflicts of interest to announce? And so they have to say, like, if they've, got investments in a company that's linked to this industry, if they're talking about an industry. And in their case, it was literally like every single member went, oh, I'm a Labour Friends of Israel member, or I'm a Conservative, or I was paid to go on a trip to Tel Aviv last year, and they, literally all of them. So they were basically all actors on behalf of Israel, the entire committee. So what's the point then? It's a kangaroo court situation at that point.
It's also worth pointing out, right, from what we now know from all of the reporting that's been done, all the information that's come out, the Craig Guilford, this guy from West Midlands Police, right? Craig Guilford, fucking idiot. Massive.
Oh, God, yeah.
Absolute clown, right? Oh, I typed in, please find Maccabi Tel Aviv matches into Microsoft Copilot, and I just took whatever it said without any checking or backing up of that information, and I'm just like, this is why the biggest kind of failure of all of this is that the Labour government want to input AI into loads of different parts of the public service, and this is a prime example of AI use in the public service that creates gigantic negative externalities because it fucking fabricates shit.
Yeah. Also, it's pretty obvious given the lack of investigative, basically, interest that he had. It's understandable why the West Midlands Police Force have such a pitifully low conviction rate on any crime. Really.
Yep.
Fucking pathetic. Couldn't even be bothered to investigate.
And they could have just put up all of the information that they had and been open about it, and we would have all known, and we would have been clear that they should still have been banned, because obviously, look at Stuttgart, look at Israel, right? Look at their actual match in Tel Aviv. Look at their actions in Olympiakos, and of course Amsterdam. And it would have been fine. It would have been perfectly reasonable to ban them. And there could have been a discussion about what the community response would have been, given that there was going to be people who were wanting to take arms to defend themselves against these people, right? It was clear that there were actions on all sides here that would have created negative externalities for the community at large, and therefore those tensions needed to be removed, and these people shouldn't have been invited. Not difficult, right? But now all of it is being clouded over the reality where the media are allowed to paint Maccabi Tel Aviv supporters as being beautiful little angels, small bean angels, because why else would Westminster Police have lied? Because the people in charge are fucking clowns.
Yeah, literally.
Needs zero tolerance on anti-Semitism, but the government needs to stem a tide that is clearly rising. If necessary, ministers need to act to stop this intimidation from happening, and it's incumbent on all of us to stand up and ensure incidents like this one don't go unnoticed and don't happen again.
Do you have any thoughts on the massive amounts of Islamophobia that happen in the country? Do you speak out as passionately against that as you do against this?
Maybe indeed your best mate Michael Gove's acceptance of the Trojan horse affair, for example, a deliberate disinformation campaign that was essentially based upon lies that there was a secret Islamic plan to take over the schooling system in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Which turned out to be totally nonsense, and Michael Gove went with it regardless, right? Was that intimidation at all, potentially?
No.
In the school system?
Absolutely fine. Oh, we're done. Oh, we're literally done. Okay.
I mean, it's just him trying to say there that we need to essentially stop this intimidation. What he's essentially saying is that it doesn't matter how filthy a politician is. It doesn't matter how bloodstained a politician's political record is. It doesn't matter about a politician's outside interests, right? You shouldn't be able to picket them or protest them from doing things that are negative for the communities that you represent.
Yeah.
This is crazy stuff. Crazy stuff, right?
Honestly,
Imagine
they want you to have freedom of speech unless you actually want to use it. You have the right to protest, but don't ever exercise that right. Otherwise, we will imprison you.
Which is the same with the Labour government wanting to crack down on repeated protest, you know, like protesting within limits. Well, then it's not a protest, is it? You don't have protest rights if there's limits to what you can, the level to which you can protest.
The disgusting hypocrisy of all of the politicians in Parliament, basically, or most of them anyway, in their condemnations of the Iranian government's dealing with its protests, which has been bad, I'm not defending that for a second, but the idea that the British government or the British establishment have any support for the British people's right of protest, when literally you have to apply to the police to have a protest in the environs of Parliament, is ridiculous.
It is. It's genuinely ridiculous. You're absolutely right. I want to also ask Sebastian Payne on this, saying he thinks that we should ban people from protesting against MPs from doing community visits based upon their political opinions, right? Wants to ban those kind of protests. Does he think it would be reasonable if we protested against James McMurdoch visiting a local women's shelter? What would you think about that?
Jesus, that is dark. It's a good point. It's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's the exact same kind of dynamic here. Like, your history as a politician means that we think you're unfit to be visiting this community, and so we are going to protest that to try and get you to stop. Right? In the same way that Damien Egan is supportive of a state that kills children, I don't think you should go be visiting time with children. And we've got James McMurdoch, a man who had previously beaten women, going to visit a thing that's there to support women who've been beaten, right? Like, no, these things shouldn't be happening, right? Yeah. But the thing is that even James McMurdoch is self-aware enough to think, maybe I shouldn't do that. Probably keep a low profile, maybe. But no, people who are friends of Israel, friends of the genocidal ethno-state, right? They know that they will receive total immunity when it comes to this shit because they have endless levels of benefit of the doubt in the media, and in fact a firewall when it comes to the media because they will refuse to scrutinize their political history.
Completely and utterly, very well said. Do we have any more on this?
I mean, I've got another insane article which is of a similar kind of a similar color, shall we say. It's just that the things get even more preposterous in this country.
Indeed.
In terms of the lengths that politicians will go to protect Israel.
Right. What do we have here? Let's have a cheeky gander. Okay. So, it's an article from Jewish News. It says, demonising Israelis should be treated as a hate crime, says UK terror law chief. The KC, Jonathan Hall, also criticised police for prioritising maintaining public order over applying the law. By the way, maintaining public order is part of the law. Like,
it is.
What do you think? I mean, in theory, at least, what do you think the police are there to do? To be like, fuck it, let's just let anarchy happen. Cool.
Anyway. I mean, but yes, it's just. So this is, for what it's worth, right?
Yeah.
This Jonathan Hall KC person, Baldy over here, he's the guy who did this. He had this speech to Policy Exchange where he claimed that the increase in the number of people who are identifying as transgender could potentially be a Russian psyop.
I've always said
mental.
I've always said it. You're a Russian psyop. You are.
He's totally mental. He is totally mental, you know?
Okay. The demonisation of Israelis is a, quote, vehicle for hatred of Jews, unquote. I mean, press X to doubt, chat. It should be recognised as a breach of the Public Order Act of 1986. So he's not even saying that new legislation needs to happen. He's saying current legislation, which has never, ever been interpreted this way, should now be interpreted this way. Why?
I mean, because this guy has gone on plenty of trips to Israel himself.
Ooh, interesting. The UK's independent, I love that. The UK's independent reviewer of terrorism legislation has said. Interesting. I wonder how independent you can be when you've received that kind of lavish treatment from one particular country.
Oh, whoa, hang on a minute. He's not just somebody who takes regular trips to Israel. He's also, this father-in-law is a patron of UK Lawyers for Israel.
The grievance mongers who have consistently gone after, like, doctors for daring to speak out about what they experienced in Gaza.
Yes.
Brilliant. Fantastic. The KC, Jonathan Hall, also criticised the police for failing to clamp down on the targeting of, quote, Israeli citizens as well as Jews living among them. What? Okay, so you're separating Israeli citizens and Jews, so...
the problem, of course, is that if you're a citizen of Israel, that means you could be a Jew, you could be an Arab, you could be Circassian, you could be Druze, right? But it's weird how, when it comes to being a citizen of Israel, it's always, heads I win, tails you lose over the demographic makeup of Israel specifically, right?
Yeah.
When they're trying to make you look like an anti-Semite for opposing Israel, they'll say, oh, but Israel's the Jewish state, so you must therefore hate the Jews that are part of Israel. I'm like, well, no. If you're a member of the IDF who's committing war crimes, whether you're a Druze or Circassian Arab, you're also a fuckhead. I hate you too. It has nothing to do with your ethnicity. It's to do with the fact that you're enabling or engaging in, you're participating in genocide. But the other way around is true as well. When you point out the apartheid ethno-state nature of Israel, they go, no, Israel's a blossoming multicultural state where 20% of the population are Arabs and they accept Druze and Circassians absolutely. And I'm like, you can't do this shit, right? You can't just pretend that you can use the specific instance that's relevant for your argument.
Also, Circassian sounds like a thing from Star Trek. Just saying. In a speech at a policy exchange event in London, Hall said, quote, let me read section 17 of the 1986 Act, which defines racial hatred, and I'm going to do this slowly. In this part, racial hatred means hatred against a group of persons defined by reference to colour, race, nationality, brackets including citizenship, close brackets, or ethnic or national origins. The demonisation of Israelis matter because it is a vehicle for the hatred of Jews. My perception is that if they don't deal with anti-Israeli hatred, you leave wiggle room for those who indulge in anti-Semitism but formally disavow it. Once hatred to Israelis is tolerated, then it is carried around like a flame. No, because the thing is, I don't hate Israelis, because there are some very good Israelis. I hate what the Israeli state does. I hate everyone who's participated in the IDF, and I realise that it's mandatory, but there are a notable number of people who A, leave the country in order to avoid it, or B, refuse to serve and to serve time in prison, and God bless them for it. They are making a notable sacrifice to not have to participate in this. So,
but it's worth pointing out that a large majority, a large number of Israeli citizens, right? Because there are lots of people who are descended from people who fled being purged from Arab countries post Nakba, right? Those people are in Israel, probably with some level of legitimacy. Obviously, the state itself is illegitimate, but their presence in the Levant, given they have nowhere else to go because of their expulsion from Iraq or from Tunisia or whatever, that seems personally reasonable, right? Those Mizrahi Jews, right? But there's a huge number of people who are living in Israel who are just Americans who want to steal land, right?
Yep.
Who are fucking birthright trip colonizers, right? Those people can go fuck themselves.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. And there he is in all of his balding glory. Referencing protests outside Israeli-owned businesses in London, Australia and the United States, the KC said there is a palpable national security risk when police prioritise maintaining public order over applying the law. Again, just pointing out that maintaining order is part of the law. Literally, we have a series of laws called the Public Order Acts. That's a thing. Anyway, he noted...
Which he literally quoted earlier in the article.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Like you would, yeah, and also he's a fucking King's Counsel. He really ought to understand that. That's pretty basic. He noted pro-Palestinian protests where chants such as "death to the IDF" or "globalise the..." I nearly said infatada. Sorry, sorry. It's not just Brummies, okay? I promise you. But it was, of course, Jess Phillips who said infatada because she's an idiot. But so am I, because I just said it too. So you know, and I'm literally reading the fucking word. She had to try and remember it. Right. Or globalise the intifada went unchallenged by cops. Hall said, quote, There have been protests outside Israeli-owned restaurants and bakeries in London, Australia and the United States. In Australia, a restaurant with Israeli ownership was attacked by protesters shouting, "Death to the IDF." Hall, who backed listing Palestine Action as a prescribed terrorist group, said in his speech that for some people, all Israeli lives are, quote, illegitimate.
I mean, no, that's just not the case, right? Like, the idea that it's nothing to do with Israeli lives, right? We think that the state of being an Israeli citizen is illegitimate because we perceive the Israeli state to be illegitimate, right? But their lives are no one's saying that they have illegitimate lives. That's just totally nonsensical, right?
Again, it's the servile insurrection thing, I suppose. Look, I want there to be a state. Call it Israel, Palestine, Palestine, Israel, Palestine, whatever. Call it something.
The Holy Land.
Yeah, call it something. The Levant. I don't give a fuck what you call it. Where Jews and Arabs and all of those different groups of people can live side by side. I don't want anyone to be kicked out or leave anywhere. You're not illegitimate. You're human beings. Your state is illegitimate. You are not. His comments.
Quite so.
His comments came after Conservative leader Kevin Badranobs urged the police to stop incitement to violence against Jews after an Israeli restaurant in London was targeted by protesters. Around 50 protesters, again? I think that's supposed to be again, typo, gathered outside Miznon in Notting Hill last Friday night.
So I was doing some research on this. Okay, and I have a nuanced perspective. So that Miznon restaurant is the same chain as the previous restaurant that's being mentioned in this article in Australia, right? This Miznon that's a chain of restaurants, and the owners of those restaurants, one of the co-owners was an official spokesperson for the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the quite literal cover operation for a CIA and Israel-backed murder squads for killing Palestinians queuing up for aid, right? So the people who own this restaurant chain are monsters, absolute genocidal monsters, right? And so that's what the protests were about, meaning that the protests' aims were totally legitimate. They weren't targeting Israeli or Jewish restaurants. They were targeting a restaurant chain owned by spokespeople for a genocidal entity, a genocidal CIA-backed entity, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm going to qualify this. Given that this is just something, these are absentee owners elsewhere, right? Like, whilst of course you can criticize people who work or who go to these restaurants, despite the fact that the ownership of those restaurants is linked to the genocide, do you think they know this? Do you think they're well aware of it? Do you think they're really cogent of the reality of what this specific restaurant chain's owners do? No. Do these people deserve to be protested themselves when, they're linked to the actual, genocidal parts of this entity are pretty negligible? I don't think that's the case. Even at a time when people are trying to smear the anti-genocide protesters as being anti-Semitic, right? Targeting random people working in an Israeli restaurant that is linked nebulously to somebody elsewhere who's not part of that restaurant, specifically in London or Australia, that is genocidal. I don't think that's a good look. I think that's good optics.
It's not a great look, and like you say, I don't think most people know, because I'm a person who tries to take into account these things. I support BDS and I try and stick by it whenever I can, but I don't know about the ownership group of every place I patronise, I should say, in the world. So I could be eating in a restaurant and not know it's owned by someone who works for a company who works for this and that. I don't know. Because how the fuck are you even going to find that out? These people go to long extents to try and cover that shit up so that they don't get exposed as this. And so I'm sure there'll be instances where this exact same thing could happen, and I'd be in there and wouldn't even realise. And I'm sure that's the case. And I'm a person who looks for that. Most people don't give a shit. Most people aren't looking at this. They just go to a restaurant because they like the food there. So yeah,
exactly.
You're giving people ammunition to use against you, metaphorical ammunition, of course, because we know the IDF like to use rather more literal ammunition, but you're giving people metaphorical ammunition to use against you when you do these kinds of things. I think protesting directly outside like Albert Systems or something like that, perfectly reasonable. Yeah. Doing it outside of a random restaurant that might be owned by a person who do blah, 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 that's silly. Yeah, you're making a run for your own back.
Yeah, exactly. Look, the justifications for the protest make perfect sense. Like, I understand why you're doing it, and we shouldn't be allowing chains that are owned by people who are, parties to genocide, we shouldn't be allowing these people to be running freely, right? But do we target the random working class people who work in and or patron those places? No, I don't think we should.
Exactly. A random barista is not necessarily completely cognizant of the fact that they work for a company that might be owned by a Zionist. They're just trying to get by. Leave them alone, basically. So I know, I understand that nuance. Where did we get to? Last Friday night. Badenoch posted on X, the Everything app. Last night we saw the police stand by as protesters called for armed resistance by any means outside an Israeli restaurant in Notting Hill. Yet another example of harassment and incitement to violence against Jews and law-abiding people on our streets. Is that what it was, Kevin? Kenny? Whatever your name is?
Kenny? Okay, they killed Kenny. I mean, you'd have to show me some evidence of them directing those chants at people in the restaurant, right? Like, other than that, like, armed resistance to the actual genocidal ethno-state of Israel, which is the right of those who are occupied, no, that's not the same as violence against Jews.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Community Secretary Steve Reid, I'm going to editorialise here and say, briefcase. When asked about the pro-Palestine protests outside Israeli restaurant Miznan, said it was horrific that anyone would think that, quote, that was the way they could behave in this country, adding, blatant, outright racism is what it is, unquote. Again,
it's not racism.
I did call him a briefcase, and I think that sums it up nicely.
This is the same Steve Reid, as has been pointed out in chat, who told a story about how one of his mates was violently throwing up in terror because someone was serving Palestinian cookies at a bake sale. I shit you not.
If you're that racist, good. I hope you do throw up a lot. I hope you have lots of illness. Fuck you. Yeah.
let me find it. Yeah, this is fucking hilarious, honestly. Like, why? It's just the insane length these people will go to, and it just makes I could be a better nefarious advocate for Israel than these people.
That's great. It reminds me of the Little Britain sketch. Yeah, where they just start throwing up. Yeah, or Mr. Creosote from Monty Python.
Why 14 mint? Yeah, I've DM'd you on Twitter a link to the story.
I did not know he was a racist. You remember when John Cleese used to be good? That was fun.
That guy's the most weird politics of anybody.
He's he's
so weird.
He's super liberal in some respects, and then super fucking weirdo reaction. Oh my god, what a fucking creepy bastard. Let me have a look. Not John Cleese. Though he is. I mean, I was referring to Stephen Reid. Labour Minister called police on school for giving out biscuits with Palestinian flag icing. But remember, the Iranian state cracking down on protests is bad. But you know what's even worse? Palestinian cookies. Come on, we are the least serious nation in the world. This is pathetic. Steve Reid, grow the fuck up, you sad bastard. Yeah, I'm sorry. Was the fucking cookie being anti-Semitic? Was it? Did the baked dough commit a fucking hate crime?
It was Hamas. It was Hamas dough. It was the same cookie. It was the same cookie dough that Hamas used to make Qassam rocket fuel.
True. Oh, true. Hey, hello, the serfs and the surferinos. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Kevin Logan. I'm a socialist from the UK. You should hit the follow button. It's free and makes you sexy. I'm also joined by No Justice MTG, who hopefully Wayward Historian, my parasocial PA, will put a link to their channel in the chat as well, and you should go and follow them because they're actually better at this than me, and they're literally going to be the biggest leftist journalist in the country soon.
I'm honestly, I'm gonna be big. Just you watch this space.
Look, no, she didn't interview Zach Polanski, the leader of the Green Party. He interviewed her on.
It's true.
Podcast. Oh, podcast.
Soundboard.
Yeah, literally. She was literally on his podcast, which is like dope. Because who were the two people sandwiched? It was Yanis Varoufakis, and then who was on after you? Gary Lineker?
Lewis Goodall.
Oh, Lewis Goodall.
Was it? Yeah, one that was one of the two.
One of the two. So, like, let's just say, like, she's in good company there. She's in pretty fucking solid company. Yeah. Also, yeah, our Green Party doesn't suck like unlike in America. Yes, that is true.
It's true. Our Green Party is cool and based and politically efficacious,
True.
and it's not just a grifting campaign group that appears once every 4 years.
Yeah, Mariana Williamson gets defrosted to come out every 4 years and be a stalking horse for whichever right-wing twat the GOP throw up. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Well, did we have any more about this? Oh yeah, we were talking about Palestine and stuff, and then this fucking dickhead Steve Reed, who's a British government minister, popped up, and this amazing story of him being offended on behalf of Jewish people because of a biscuit.
Calling the police on a school for over it.
Like, imagine that calling the police. What kind of phone call is that? Imagine that 999 call. You're like, hello, do you need police, ambulance, or fire brigade? Police, please. What's your emergency? Biscuit. What? What do you mean, fucking biscuit? I've got a bloke choking to death on the other line. What the fuck were you doing? Fucking biscuit, you cunt! Stop fucking wasting my time!
The police did not respond to this report. Surprise, surprise. He told Jewish News in an interview published on Sunday, but his neighbours confronted school staff because the biscuits were, quote, scaring their children.
Well, your children are fucking pricks, and they're being raised by an even bigger prick. Look, what chance do these kids have? If they can't sustain a biscuit, if they've got a biscuit phobia, they're going to have some real problems in life. You need to teach them better, I think. Or seek counselling for your biscuit-related fucking nerve problems.
He told the outlet, 2 Jewish mums came to see me at my advice surgery to tell me there had been a cultural day at their children's school where they were given biscuits in the shape of Israel and iced them with the flag of Palestine. So...
It's colonisation through the icing paper. Yes!
It's true. It's a map of land swaps, right? Like, this is what happened in the meeting between Ehud Olmert and Mahmoud Abbas, where you can only take a map away of the land swaps in this two-state solution if you draw it on a biscuit with icing.
Yeah, exactly.
The biscuit map.
Honestly, I think that's the only way Trump could ever learn geography.
By the way, chat, for people who don't know, right, that joke is only half true, right?
Yeah.
I.e., there was the case where there was a meeting between the Palestinian and Israeli leaders about land swaps, where they refused to let them take an actual map of the land swaps away. But he didn't have to draw it on a biscuit, he drew it on a napkin.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's a real true story, 100% true. The napkin map, Google it.
But that just shows you that Benjamin Netanyahu is a good faith actor and a partner for peace in the region. 100%, yo. Oh yeah, Reuters are now announcing that the US plans to strike Iran within the next 24 hours.
Great. It's worth pointing out too that if they're being handed out biscuits with the shape of Israel on them, and then the person is icing them with the flag of Palestine, then you would assume that'd be one of those necklaces or like the shape of one of those pendants that you see. And the shape of the biscuit, which includes the West Bank and Gaza and the Golan Heights as part of Israel, which is like openly genocidal, right?
Was this before or after the snack bar?
Admiral snack bar.
No, that's because like Nakba.
Oh,
see what I've done there? Because it's a biscuit. That's a genocide they did, an actual genocide they did against Palestinian people, which they basically never stopped since. With flare-ups, the recent one, yeah. Anyway, do we have any more for this? Because like I was going like an hour and a half before we joined. So, are you carrying on?
Yeah, I'm carrying on.
Okay.
I've got some.
Well, hold on, Lance's people, because I'm going to raid you into No Justice. Who's better? If you enjoy serious content, go over there.
Cool. Please, indeed, come hither.
Yes.
Okay. Surferinos.
Indeed.
Because I'm be going for another hour or so probably. I can't really finish my stream after 1 hour of content. These people pay me good money to continue to give them content, i.e. reacts to other people's content.
Fair enough, yeah. And there will be fewer dick jokes on that channel.
That is true. That is true. That is true. I'm not a potty mouth like you, Kevin.
Well, you say that, but the Prime Minister did a Kama Sutra joke and used the word
He did.
screwed in that context. Which, honestly, I had to get my smelling salts out on the fainting couch. It was a nightmare.
I mean, to be fair, it is funny. Like, so many lines have actually been kind of that Keir Starmer's had have actually been pretty reasonable, funny lines, and he just can't deliver them because he's pathetic.
Yeah, he's got good writers behind the scenes, and he's the worst. He can't spit. He just can't. He's got no riz. He's got no fans.
Got no fans.
His stadium shit. Do you want some?
I'll give it yeah.
Honestly,
the Holborn Raider.
Oh, the Holborn Raider. True. Oh, someone needs to make that meme happen. Let's go. Okay. Yes, indeed. Okay. So everyone go and follow No Justice MTG on the various platforms.
Once you've rated in as well, of course.
Well, indeed, yes.
I'll be
doing that.
So
I'll
be very easy to be able to do so.
Well, I'll hang up the call and I'll end the thing and raid into you. And
okay,
we'll speak another time.
Absolutely, absolutely. See you in a bit. Bye.
Well, there you go, chat. It's been emotional. By what you mean, I need a massive piss. So I'm gonna fuck off. Not just for the piss. Like the stream had to end at some point anyway. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all for listening and watching. We did most of PMQs. Honestly, doing all of it's just a bit fucking annoying. Hopefully we didn't miss anything particularly good. Let's be honest, we almost certainly didn't, because it's fucking Prime Minister's questions. Okay, I'm going to raid you into No Justice of the MTGs, because she's fucking awesome. Everyone go and follow. Especially the Surfs people, who are new here. She does really good fucking content, so go and check out her shit. And I will see you all tomorrow, Thursday. We don't have question time tomorrow because he's not back till the 22nd. So we'll do something. Probably some slop. Who knows? It is, of course, goodbye from me and goodbye from me because I don't have a guest with me at this particular moment. But yeah, everyone go and follow No Justice MTG. If I can fucking find her on the thing. Why isn't it the obvious go-to thing? I raid into her all the time. Nudge. There we go. Thank you everyone for listening or watching. Free Palestine. Free Venezuela. Hopefully there isn't some sort of horrific world war that starts overnight and that we're all alive to see tomorrow. That's a cheery note to end on. Toodles!